The sound of the explosion can be transmitted to the naval headquarters next door, and it can also create an earthquake that affects the entire Sabaody archipelago, which is formed by 79 small islands. It can be seen how amazing the movement caused by the meteorite rain is. Just like Hancock's observation hockey, which combines radio waves, Kahn's observation hockey combines telekinesis, which is also the only one. Not only that, it is also a unique perception, but Kahn's perception range is much stronger than Hancock's. Because he is a natural observation hockey owner, just born with an extremely powerful observation hockey. Fujitora's smiling observation hockey can pull down meteorites from outer space together with paramecia heavy fruit. Kahn's natural observation hockey can do the same with telekinetic power, and it is more convenient than Fujitora's smile, pulling down more meteorites. Because Kahn's physical strength is too strong. The meteorite rain pulled down by Kahn, the volume of each meteorite is no less than the meteorite pulled down by Fujitora in Dressrosa. The explosive power of each meteorite is many times stronger than the shells dedicated to Buster Call. The shells equipped by 10 warships can destroy a small island like Ohara. When most of the meteorite rain, under the control of telekinetic power, all fell on the small island filled with white mist, setting off a series of shocking explosions. The area of the white mist expanded several times in a short period of time, quickly covering several small islands around. In the white mist that Hancock's only perception can't see the internal picture, there are still huge flames blooming continuously. The terrifying heat energy made those on the neighboring islands, and those who hadn't had time to escape, feel as if they were trapped in a volcano, feeling their throats dry and their bodies losing moisture rapidly. The deafening and shocking series of explosions lasted a total of 10 minutes. When the last explosion stopped, the people of the Sabaody archipelago only needed to look at the sky in one direction, and they could see the huge mushroom cloud rising to an altitude of many meters. It will take at least another half an hour to wait for this mushroom cloud to dissipate naturally. Roar. At this moment, a dragon's roar that shocked all spirits suddenly came from the mushroom cloud. Immediately, a gust of wind appeared out of thin air, sweeping away a huge mushroom cloud of the size of a small island. When the mushroom cloud dissipated, the whole picture of Sabaody archipelago, which was originally a small area shrouded in white mist, finally appeared again. From the perspective of an outsider sailing towards the Sabaody archipelago, nothing seems to have changed in the Sabaody archipelago. But if you look from top to bottom, you will find the illegal area of Sabaody archipelago. There are 29 big trees with numbers 1 to 29. The island with the number 6 tree has also disappeared. Instead, it is a huge lake whose gap is filled with seawater. Originally, those who wanted to go to island number 5, or to island number 7, only needed to pass through this place. But now, those people want to go to these two small islands. There are only two ways. One is to take a long detour, and the other is to paddle to the opposite side with the help of a small boat. In the future, this huge lake will definitely become one of the biggest check-in points in Sabaody archipelago. Those pirates who managed to get here through the 7 waterways, after seeing this huge lake, their worldview will definitely be refreshed. I believe that those who have not yet entered the New World, after learning about this huge lake, will definitely remember the name, Walking Disaster, Cross Khan. In addition to the disappearance of the number 6 island, the number 5 and number 7 islands have also been affected by the meteorite rain. The part of the ground closest to the number 6 island is covered with scorched marks. There are also some large or small craters. If it weren't for Khan's telekinesis to control the meteorite rain and concentrate his firepower to attack the number 6 island, the nearby number 5 and number 7 islands would probably also disappear, or be directly bombed out of most of the area. Now it is only affected to a part of the area, which is already recovering a life. After using telekinesis to control the wind to blow away the mushroom cloud, Khan in the form of a dragon fanned its wings tens of meters long, floating above the lawless area, looking down at the huge lake below, and the only observation hockey began to look for the figures of Sengoku and Kizaru. Soon, Khan sensed 2 powerful auras. Looking in the direction of perception, I saw 2 tall figures sitting on the shore of the number 7 island, panting heavily. They are Marine Admiral, Sengoku of Buddha, and Vice Admiral, the 3 marine monsters. They may soon be Kizaru, Paluzolino, one of the 3 major monster admiral candidates. But at this time, the future Marine Marshal and Marine Admiral seem to be in a bit of a mess. At this time, Sengoku had already lost his form of a giant Buddha and returned to his normal state of 2.78 meters. Not only that, but his justice cloak and suit jacket have also disappeared. They may have been reduced to ashes in the explosion just now. But Sengoku's naked upper body is completely different from Whitebeard's predecessor, who was covered with knife scars and gun scars. He didn't even have a scar. Even in the shocking chain of explosions just now, Sengoku only lost his justice cloak and suit jacket. As if to say, this is already very embarrassing for Admiral, who has the highest combat power in Marine. Unlike Sengoku's wolf, Kizaru is really woof. Just like the Golden Lion who is afraid of the wind, Kizaru's lightspeed movement is not as convenient and comprehensive as Hancock's electric field teleportation. If he wants to move at the speed of light, he must turn into photons, and then burst out in diameter. Or bend teleport using light refraction. When turning into a photon, if someone holds a weapon that is entwined with Haki and the attack speed is fast enough, it is easy to interrupt Kizaru, who needs to charge up and has a noticeable forward swing. After turning into a photon, Kizaru is afraid of the gravitational and suction force similar to Logia dark fruit. Because of the strong suction, the photon will be sucked away, interrupting Kizaru's diameter movement. In addition, seawater is the absolute nemesis for 99.99% of capable users. In the tornado area with amazing suction, there are waterspouts and water dragons on the left, right, front, back, and above. Kizaru, who was known as Huang Pao Pao in his previous life, was used by Khan to target Sengoku's catastrophe and completely restrained. If Kizaru escaped using the speed of light movement, Kizaru, who has never tried to move in the tornado area, would easily hit the waterspout and be instantly killed on the spot. Of course, Kizaru, who uses the golden barrage to blast away and vaporize the water dragon in the sky, can actually escape from the sky easily. But instead of running away, he stayed to help Sengoku, resisting the falling meteorite rain. Being in the dense white mist, Kizaru focused on shooting the meteorite with radium, but ignored the surrounding waterspout and the effect of the collision between the meteorite and the waterspout. So the careless Kizaru, whose body did not use armament Haki to defend, was merged into the white mist, and the seawater steam that had not evaporated completely left a large area of scald marks. Before the final episode of the previous life, Khan, who had never seen Kizaru injured, also personally broke Kizaru's record of not being injured, leaving his own record. This record, if Marine's medical level is not good enough, might become a permanent honor. In this way, when Kizaru sees Khan in the future, he will no longer show the look that deserves a beating. You two are really lucky. Hovering in the sky, Khan in the form of a dragon looked down at Sengoku and Kizaru on the 7th island, and couldn't help sighing. Sengoku first glanced at the disappearing number 6 island, then looked at the sky dragon above, gritted his teeth and said, "Cross Khan, you wanton brat. No way, the opponent is a legend from the previous era like you." Gazing at Sengoku, whose breath was not in the slightest disorder, but who had just taken a few breaths, Khan's long and narrow red vertical pupils flashed a strange light, and half-truthfully exclaimed, "As expected of the next Marine Marshal, there are no two candidates, even my most powerful secrets can't hurt you in the slightest. So, let's call it a day." After some hesitation, Khan didn't land in the end. Instead, he took a deep look at Sengoku, and then glanced at Kizaru, whose face was covered with a few scald marks, and at the same time showed a rare expression of anger. Khan suddenly turned his head and shouted in one direction, "Hancock, we time to go." After speaking, under the watchful eyes of Sengoku and Kizaru, Khan flew towards the direction of the red line with wings tens of meters long, fanning a gust of air current. Swish. At the same time, a blue-white lightning appeared in the sky above Khan out of thin air, condensed to form the figure of Hancock, and landed on the back of the blue sky dragon. Using telekinetic force to eliminate the air barrier, the flying speed of Tianlong was extremely fast, and it flew away from Sabodi archipelago in a few blinks of an eye. Watching Tianlong leave, neither Sengoku nor Kizaru made a move to stop it. Because it doesn't make any sense. In the fight between the strong and the strong, why in the end, it can be judged that the opponent's Haki is running out. Because observation Haki can perceive the strength of a person's breath. The reduction of physical fitness and Haki will affect the change of breath. If dying, this breath will become extremely small, or even disappear. If Khan's aura is extremely weak at this moment, even if he still has a Logia Thunder Fruit ability user as a helper, Sengoku and Kizaru will use their full strength to knock Khan down from the sky. However, Khan, who had resorted to multiple natural disasters before, did not weaken his aura, and was still as dazzling and hot as the sun. The monster's physical strength made both Sengoku and Kizaru suspect that the other party might be able to perform the Yi catastrophe again. In addition, among the two, only Kizaru's flying speed can catch up with Khan, and Sengoku's moonwalk can't catch up with Khan, who can eliminate the air barrier. And Kizaru was taught a lesson severely by Kon, leaving a large area of burns. Thinking of the double-digit waterspouts and water dragons before, Sengoku calmed down, and already guessed how the big flood came that day. Cross-Kon's telekinetic power can not only increase observation haki, but also make the range of perception reach an incredible level. And his telekinetic power can also control things anywhere that observation haki perceives. The Great Flood came from the sky, that is, Kon used telekinesis to control the sea outside the Saboti archipelago, and their observation haki could not perceive the sea, and flew into the air to wait for instructions. So, Sengoku didn't dare to let Kizaru go after Kon. In case of the sea outside, Kon repeats his old trick and once again uses a tornado group or a waterspout group to overshadow Kizaru. His deputy, the future Marine Admiral, may be gone. Marine is not a CP organization, and Sengoku is not the strongest shield dedicated to serving the 19 Celestial Dragons' royal families. Without the assurance of keeping Kon, he would not choose to sacrifice his lieutenants for the sake of the Celestial Dragons. But after today's battle, Sengoku has figured out Kon's strength. Just like what he said, this template with 2 monsters, and when the eyes of their Marine and CP organizations were all focused on the Luogia pirates, the natural monsters that had quietly passed their infancy had already passed away. It has become a climate. With only one admiral, it is impossible to win the opponent. You must join forces with Garp, or the 3 major Logias, Paluzolino, Kuzan, and Sakazuki, in order to be able to take down the opponent with absolute certainty. Just myself and Garp, each with a deputy to capture Kon, will fail 100%. Unless there is no Logia Thunder Fruit ability user by the opponent's side. Thinking of this, Sengoku suddenly felt a headache. Garp is not in naval headquarters. Without this great opportunity, meeting Kon and the girl named Hancock in the future, this extremely young combination will definitely become even more incomprehensible. I hope that the 3 of them can grow up quickly, otherwise Marine will be a little passive in this future, when there may be 5 sea overlords in the era of great pirates. Looking at the embarrassed Kizaru next to him, Sengoku thought to himself slightly. Master, your perfect body is so strong. At the same time, on the back of Tianlong, who had already flown away from the Saboti archipelago and was going to rendezvous with the Grandine, Hancock lay on Kon's neck and shouted in admiration. The move just now was extremely beautiful, even that Marine Admiral and Ugly are not your opponents. You're wrong, Hancock. However, Kon shook his head and said helplessly, on the contrary, I am not the opponent of Marine Admiral. Just like Sengoku and Kizaru sensed Kon's breath, which was still as dazzling as the sun, and did not fall into weakness, so they dared not pursue it. Kon also sensed Sengoku's breath, so he didn't land on the ground, but hesitated, then turned and left. Because the purpose of Kon's use of profound meaning catastrophe is to let Sengoku's haki and physical fitness bottom out, and then ask him for the most advanced use of haki. Unexpectedly, Kon's expectations fell through. Sengoku, the future Marshal of Marine, deserves to be evaluated as the ultimate person with the highest level of mind, skill and body. For decades, no one could leave a scar on Sengoku. Whitebeard of world's strongest man can't do it. Now Kon can't do the same. Kon used up 2/3 of his stamina for performing acts of the Great Cataclysm. Although the remaining 1/3 of physical strength is still like a monster. But Sengoku withstood the profound truth catastrophe, and probably consumed about half of his physical energy, and he didn't even have any scars on his body, and even his breathing was just a few shortnesses at the beginning. Kon, who has already played all his cards, will definitely be overwhelmed if he continues to play. Sengoku doesn't even need to use haki's advanced use. Moreover, the shocking series of explosions before had alarmed Marineford and Marie Joyce. With only 1/3 of his stamina left, he was still fighting next door to naval headquarters and world government. When those highest in power made decisions, even if Kon had Hancock as his helper, it would be a disaster. So the cautious Kon, after seeing the gap between himself and the highest peak in the world, is not insatiable. He is only 15 years old this year, and he still has time and methods to learn the most advanced use of Conqueror's haki, so there is no need to take such a risk. With Kon gone, the Marine side continued to purge the Saboti archipelago. The impact of the killing of celestial dragons began to spread, and soon spread to the ears of the major forces through the eyeliners planted in the center of the world. Then, the whole world was shocked. Just like in the original book, when Luffy hit St. Charles, the news spread all over the world in just a few days. Saboti archipelago is one of the largest archipelagos in the world, and its geographical location is the last stop of the first half of the Grand Line. It is the only way to go to the New World, which has led to it being called the center of the world by the world. If there is a little commotion in the center of the world, it is easy to get greater exposure than before. That's why those rebellious people who have opened up the chosen channel will fight in Sabaody Archipelago every session. Because this is a world-class stage, if you can defeat someone with a higher bounty or popularity than yourself, you will quickly gain more popularity than the other party. If a big event happens here, even the world government, which has ruled the world for 800 years, and Marine will not be able to cover it up. There are a lot of fish and dragons here, and 29 small islands are listed as illegal areas where villains are active. As long as there are some forces that can support some idlers, they will place their eyeliner in Sabaody Archipelago. Therefore, when the nominal lord of the Sabaody Archipelago, the celestial dragons who enjoyed all the privileges, was killed, the major forces that received the news, some hated or even hated the celestial dragons, or could not understand the forces of the world government and Marine, all in one after another. The dark world spread the word. And Morgans immediately mobilized his reporters in the Sabaody Archipelago to collect information on why the celestial dragons were killed and who killed the celestial dragons. Knowing that Khan was bidding with celestial dragons, the latter broke the rules angrily and sent guards to arrest Khan, but was killed by Khan. Morgans, who had been in the shape of an albatross, uttered excited birdsong. What made him even more excited was that after Khan killed the celestial dragons, he didn't turn into a celestial dragon and escape directly, but stayed in Sabaody Archipelago, one of the highest combat powers with naval headquarters, and Sengoku, who is also the best candidate for the next Marine Marshal, and Sengoku's deputy, Paluzolino, one of the 3 marine monsters, had a great battle. In this top-level battle, the background of the Cross family was finally exposed. It turned out that Cross Khan did not form a large ship group, but only took his own maid group to sea, because his maid group was not simple. In addition to Nico Robin, the son of the devil, who first followed Cross Khan, there was also a maid who was the legendary Logia Thunderfruit capable user. Phantom Beast Dragon Form vs Phantom Beast Hyphenation Point Great Buddha Form. Logia Thunderfruit vs Logia Sparkling Fruit. This is a super duel with top strength and top fruits. Especially in this battle, natural disasters such as floods, meteorite rain, and tornadoes of 3 attributes also appeared. In the end, one of the 79 small islands of the Sabaody Archipelago sank directly. The celestial dragons were killed, Cross Khan vs Marine Admiral, the legendary Logia Thunderfruit appeared, and the island-destroying cataclysm. Each of these news materials can become the headlines of the next day. If Morgans wants to make a lot of money, he can report 1 article a day, and he can definitely earn a lot of money. But Morgans didn't do that. Compared with this little money, Morgans wants to make a sensation all over the world at once, so that the people of the world can see the biggest world-class news since the beginning of the era of great pirates at the fastest speed. So, Morgans threw away all the news materials of the next day, and published all the news quality collected in the next day's Shijing Bao. When the news bird flies around the world with freshly baked newspapers. The front and rear half of the Grand Line, as well as the 4 seas, the whole world was in an uproar. Hey, hello. Am I dazzled? On today's newspaper, does it say that the celestial dragons of the world's nobles were killed? Are you kidding? How could anyone in this world dare to attack the nobles of the world? It must be fake news. Wait a minute. It doesn't seem like this is fake news, but a headline from Shijingbao with photos on it. Oh my god. Celestial dragons was really killed, and the person who killed him was the walking natural disaster, who became famous twice in the first half of the year. Cross Khan. Great. Someone in this world finally dares to attack those pigs. He is indeed the strongest supernova in history. It's unbelievable. So it turns out that gods also die? From now on, Walking Scourge, Cross Khan is my idol, my hero. Kill the celestial dragons, fight Marine Admiral in the Sabaody Archipelago, sink an island? Phantom Beast Great Buddha Form vs Phantom Beast Dragon Form, Logia Sparkling Fruit vs Logia Thunderfruit? It's actually Thunderfruit. That Logia, which hasn't been seen for many years and has been reduced to legend, actually came out in this era? And this generation of Logia Thunderfruit capable user is actually Cross Khan's maid, and a peerless beauty. Isn't this kid too blessed? I was born with the same natural destroyer physique as Big Mom. At the age of 10, I was a Zone Dragon Fruit Phantom Beast Dragon Form ability user. Even the maid is known as the strongest Thunder Fruit ability user in Logia. She is also a peerless beauty. Cross Khan, isn't he really the son of the world? Today's Shijingbao, without any other news, is all about the Sabaody archipelago incident. First, the death of the world's nobles ignited the emotions of the people of the world, and then the more you look back, the more shocking the news content. At the same time, Morgans also posted many photos secretly taken by his men. The headlines featured 3 mangled bodies captured on camera before the reporter fled, along with a photo of Khan levitating to the stage. The second edition is posted with photos of the Great Flood and meteor shower, as well as the earthquake that spread throughout the Sabaody archipelago, causing many ordinary people to fall to the ground. In the end, Tianlong left, and lightning appeared out of thin air, condensing to form a peerless beauty in a black and white maid outfit, and the disappearing island, taken from a photo of a huge lake. After reading today's Shijingbao, the whole world is discussing it. Ordinary people are talking about the death of celestial dragons, and countless people applaud and cheer continuously. After the strong man was amazed, he paid more attention to the following news. Especially the various forces in the New World, their hearts sank. He was able to escape from the hands of Sengoku Admiral, who opposed Whitebeard in the previous era, and beside him was a Logia Thunder Fruit ability user who was no less than one of the 3 marine monsters. Such strength, such combination except for the 3 overlords, no one can stop the rise of the Cross family. Could it be that the future New World will be ruled by 4 sea emperors? And, if I remember correctly, besides Son of the Devil, Nico Robin, besides Cross Khan, there are several maids. Logia Thunder Fruit ability user is just one of them. Could it be that each of the group of personal maids is not a simple existence? At this moment, all forces dare not underestimate the Cross family any longer. I thought that the former West Blue's largest gangster family was supported by Khan alone, a force that was strong from the outside but strong from the inside. Unexpectedly, Khan already had a helper, and he was also a legendary Logia Thunder Fruit user. If the rest of the maids are not simple stuff, then the Cross family already has the strongest team. It just needs to start expanding and it will quickly become one of the big forces in New World. Thinking of this, the various forces with good intelligence capabilities immediately dispatched their subordinates to try their best to investigate the intelligence of the personal maids around Khan. At the same time, Naval Headquarters, the biggest winner of the killing of celestial dragons, also issued 2 new reward orders. Morgans, who got the 2 reward orders at the first time, immediately published them in Shijingbao the next day. Walking Calamity, Cross Khan, Zone Dragon Fruit Phantom Beast Dragon Form Abilities, Bounty, 1.555 billion Baileys, regardless of life or death. Maid of Thunder, Boa Hancock, Logia Thunder Fruit Ability User, Bounty, 592 million Baileys, regardless of life or death. The photo of Khan's reward order remains unchanged, and it is still last year's image country. In the photo of Hancock, he is wearing a black and white maid outfit, surrounded by blue and white arcs, with beautiful cheeks, and beautiful dark blue eyes full of arrogance and disdain. With such an expression and such an imposing manner, Hancock is actually more suitable for the title of Queen of Thunder, or Queen of Thunder. But, Hancock is just a maid. Neither Marine nor Morgans, who knew Hancock for the first time, couldn't think of any good titles, so they could only give Hancock this simple and popular title. If we say the second day after the Sabaody archipelago event, the protagonist of the World Economic News is Cross Khan. Then on the third day after the Sabaody archipelago event ended, the protagonist of Shijingbao was Boa Hancock. While other forces mobilized their intelligence capabilities and were investigating the identity of Khan's personal maid group, Morgans had discovered a big secret that few people knew. The big secret is that this peerless beauty who ate Logia Thunder Fruit was a pirate ship who shot an arrow some time ago, but because it is not sure whether the other party is a Logia Thunder Fruit capable person, Morgans did not report it. Maid. In just 2 or 3 months, this little maid has transformed from a young girl into a peerless beauty. Obviously, Cross family has demon fruit power that can affect the age of creatures. Our Cross Khan has found a person with the ability to affect the age of creatures, allowing the other party to use the ability of devil fruit to help his maid group develop ahead of time up. This operation shows that Morgans admires Khan's brainhole and casts all his eyes on him. Some time ago, the little maid of even if she is a Logia Thunder Fruit capable person, is absolutely impossible to be the opponent of Peluzolino, one of the 3 marine monsters. But after developing ahead of time and becoming the adult he is now, the other party is completely worthy of Peluzolino. A fruit ability that can affect the age of creatures has turned the Cross family, which had to be carried by Khan alone, into a large force with unknown background and only the tip of the iceberg. Just like what Sengoku thought, the future New World is likely to enter a world dominated by 5 sea overlords. Morgan saw in Hancock, second only to Khan, the starlight that could become the hegemony of the sea. Can be called an invincible ability, so as long as the person who eats it is not a waste, he will definitely become an invincible person, who cannot beat others, and others will definitely not be able to beat him. And Logia Thunderfruit is one of the invincible abilities among the 3 series of Devil Fruit. With Khan's escort, it is almost certain that Hancock will become a monster in the New World, or even become a superpower. This is Naval Headquarters' first bounty on Hancock, giving 592 million Baileys, which is close to Bailey's bounty. Therefore, Morgans, who saw the brilliance of a superstar in Hancock, immediately made a gimmick to make Hancock's reputation even higher, becoming the strongest new star in the second half of Sea Circle calendar 1503, and her master happened to be the best star of the year, Strong Gemini. The gimmick created by Morgans is the title in bold font on the headline of the World Economic News, the world's most beautiful woman. Yes, Khan's new bounty order and Hancock's bounty order are just the cover of the second edition's headlines. The real headline cover and protagonist are both Hancock. In order to let the world have a deeper understanding of Hancock, Morgans posted the photos secretly taken by Newsbird a few months ago, as well as the photos of Hancock's current reward order on the headlines for comparison. And next to these photos, there are a lot of text. After reading today's news, the world is suddenly enlightened. It turned out that Hancock was actually an underage girl 2 or 3 months ago. In just 2 or 3 months, the reason why the girl has undergone such a huge change is that in Cross Khan's family, or someone he knows, there is a permanent demon fruit power that can affect the biological age. Not only Boa Hancock, but even the group of personal maids around him are actually some underage girls. But now, all the maids, including Nico Robin, the son of the devil, are already adults. For Khan's operation, all parties are full of praise. With the ability of a devil fruit, it directly reduces the accumulation of several years, or even more than 10 years. As expected of the godfather of gangsters who ruled more than 200 towns in West Blue. This brat really isn't just powerful. Even Kaido and Charlotte Linlin were heartbroken after seeing today's news. If they had such abilities, wouldn't they be able to collect orphans with powerful talents, and then use their abilities to turn them into adults, quickly gaining powerful troops? It's a pity that this kind of ability, no matter which faction it is in, is the whole card in the whole. Even if Khan really has it, it is impossible to lend it to others, or it will be an enemy for himself. At the same time, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin are also full of fear of Khan. With such ability, the opponent's Cross family will grow faster than them. Maybe it won't take a few years for the Cross family to catch up with them in size. However, Kaido and Charlotte Linlin were helpless. The Cross family has not yet expanded, just Khan and his personal maids. The only thing of value is the more string bean. Khan, who can fly and control the wind and water, would have no trouble escaping if he was shot. But afterwards, it was time for the other party to take revenge on himself. The Charlotte family, who planted flags in various places in New World, and the Beast's pirates, who often transported weapons and sold them, could not stop Khan's attack at all. Once you are the first bird, your own development will stagnate, and you will be separated by the other 2 monsters. In this balanced situation, neither Charlotte Linlin nor Kaido dare to act rashly. The same goes for world government and naval headquarters. If Khan is weak, they don't need to be reasonable at all, and if he escapes by chance, they can go to New World and West Blue to take away Khan's territory and hometown. But after being occupied and escaped by Khan, they must abide by the rules of the high-end game. Otherwise, if you provoke a monster that can fly and use Cataclysm, even the world government and marine will feel a headache. The other party can easily destroy an island with a Cataclysm, and can also eliminate the air resistance to speed up the flight speed. Destroying one island in one day, or even 2 islands in one day, is a breeze. When the other party makes a move to the franchise country, the rest of the franchise countries will definitely collectively put pressure on the world government. At that time, the loss of the world government will be many times more serious than the death of a celestial dragons. Therefore, unless it has the certainty of winning, the world government cannot, and dare not, take a shot at Khan again. This is strategic shock and awe. Sister, you are famous. Sister, today's headline covers are all your photos, and the newspaper also said that you are the most beautiful woman in the world. Just when Khan and Hancock became famous all over the world and were called the strongest twin stars of the year by Morgans. Today's Shijingbao also fell into the hands of Khan and his group. On the lawn deck of the Grandine, which was sailing slowly on the sea, Khan and his gang held a copy of the World Economic Journal. After reading today's news, Mary and Sonia came to their sister one after another, and said with admiration, "Sister, you are really amazing." Certainly, with one hand on his hip, Hancock stroked G's smooth hairstyle with the other hand. With a smug smile on his face, he said, "I'm the most beautiful. That guy named Morgans is just telling the truth." Seeing this scene, Scarlett couldn't help asking Robin next to her, "Has she always been so arrogant?" Allah Allah. Hancock is indeed the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, and she's just telling the truth. Robin covered her lips and smiled, her beautiful blue-black eyes curved into crescents, making it impossible for people to judge whether her words are true or not through the window of the soul. Only Khan, who has a natural observation hockey, knows that Robin said this on purpose. Under Robin's gentle appearance, she is actually a fan-cut black, hiding the essence of black belly. Just as Hancock is hostile to Scarlett, Robin is actually hostile to Scarlett. It's just that Hancock showed it with arrogance, and Robin didn't show it. Because they don't want this girl with super good looks, who is the princess of the franchise country, and who is well matched with the master, to become their biological mother. That's why Hancock immediately asked Khan if she was prettier or if Scarlett was prettier when she got bigger. Hancock wants to use his own beauty to charm the master, so that he won't be afraid that the master will be lost by Scarlett. Robin, who is the most mature among the girls, also saw Hancock's thoughts and expressed support for Hancock's approach. She and Hancock are now the master's life chief maid and battle maid chief. If you want to become their mistress, you have to pass the level of the two of them. Those who are not recognized by them, or who convince them, don't want to be their mistress. Scarlett didn't know that Robin, a girl with a gentle personality like a big sister, actually had a dark belly. After hearing Robin's words, Scarlett had to admit that 18-year-old Hancock was indeed worthy of the title of the most beautiful woman in the world. Her figure, appearance, and strength are all flawless, much stronger than her meager self who is only 1.7 meters tall. "Ah. I want to become so powerful too," Scarlett sighed silently. Khan, who saw her heart in his eyes, slightly raised the corner of his mouth. "Just think about it, I'm afraid you just want to be a vase." Khan thought to himself slightly. Originally, Khan was still hesitating whether to give Paramecia sweet fruit to Scarlett, so that Scarlett, whose beauty is only slightly inferior to Hancock, would become a weakened version of the original book. Graham. And now, Khan has made his decision. After returning to New World, Khan lets Scarlett choose. If she chooses to be strong, Khan will teach her Hydra Hockey and Marine 6 styles. As long as Scarlett learned 1.5 of them, Khan saw her determination. Then Khan will give Paramecia sweet fruit to Scarlett. If Scarlett doesn't have the patience to practice and doesn't want to become stronger, Khan will leave Paramecia sweet fruit and find her an auxiliary devil fruit that is similar to Paramecia Dwanzi fruit and does not need to be developed. As for Paramecia sweet fruit, it will be left to the next family member who is super good looking and trustworthy. "Master, this is for you." Just at this moment, a timid voice brought Khan back to his senses. Looking sideways, Koala, who is only 4 years old this year, is petite, wearing a maid outfit Robin specially made for her, holding a fruit plate that has been cut and handing it to Khan. "Thank you, Koala." After taking the fruit plate from Koala, Khan smiled and reached out to touch Koala's little head. Feeling the touch in his hands, Khan finally regained the long-lost sense of accomplishment. Koala, who was killed by Khan's head touch, felt the kindness and favor of the master through the warm palm. This made Koala, who was abducted by human traffickers, saw many people along the way and was whipped by human traffickers, and was frightened like the original boy of 3 sisters. Koala would bow her head in fear when seeing strangers, and dare not look directly at each other. The heart of fear is filled with warmth. Plus the 3 seniors, and the comfort of Robin, the big sister. In just 2 days, Koala has come out of the shadows and become a member of the Cross family. Not only that, but at the age of 4, she showed the talent of a maid in life, and was accepted as a disciple by Robin, and she was ready to be trained as his deputy. In addition, Robin also secretly begged Khan not to take Koala to Wano-kuni. Let Eren grow her up, but let Koala grow normally. In fact, Khan would do the same without Robin saying much. Except for the battle maids, Khan would only consider aging them if they were girls with a mature mind and their consent. Otherwise, Khan would not have recruited a young family member, and immediately took her to Wano-kuni to grow up to 18. Because there is no need for this, it is a last resort to give Robin's 4 daughters the age limit. Entering New World early, and wanting to develop the Cross family in this sea of the strongest, Khan can't do it alone. Now that the chief maid of life and the chief maid of battle are already in charge, Khan only needs to bring new seedlings to the family and let them be responsible for cultivating them. Koala. Just the beginning. Next morning. After more than 3 days of voyage, the Grandine once again came to the capital of 7 Waters, which is known as the Holy Land of Shipbuilding, after 3 months. This time back to the capital of 7 Waters, Khan and his group left immediately in no hurry. The last time I left eagerly was to go to Hancock Island to find Logia Thunderfruit. And now, the team of Cross family has been completed. This trip back to the first half of the Grand Line is to go to West Blue and other sea areas while traveling and relaxing while doing business. There is plenty of time. So this time back to the capital of 7 Waters, Khan is going to transform the workers of the Grandine. Master, do you want to modify the Grandine? When Robin and the girls heard Khan's thoughts, they couldn't help being slightly taken aback. What? Khan nodded, and said, in the old Grandine, it was just me and Robin, and the reason why I ordered such a large medium-sized 2-masted sailing ship was mainly to store treasures. And now, all the treasures are stored in Mary's castle, and the rooms that were used to store treasures before are vacant. I want to transform them into entertainment venues, so that everyone can have a place to hang out when they are bored. Great, I agree. Mary immediately cheered and cast her own vote. Robin also nodded slightly. That's a good idea. I also just want a library. I want an aquarium. Since she hasn't eaten devil fruit yet, Sonia is now positioned as both a combat maid and a life maid, raised her hand and said, with an aquarium, we can raise some special fish that are not available in other sea areas, so that you can eat fish from various sea areas at any time. Well, Sonia's right. Hancock nodded in agreement. Hancock wanted nothing. If you have to find something you want, it's only pets. 9 snake warriors have been raising snakes since they were young. Snakes are their companions and their weapons. Hancock also has his own snake, but because it was abducted by human traffickers, the snake landed on the ship of the 9 snake pirates. When he has a better understanding of the world and has free time, Hancock is going to go back to Daughter Island, to report safety to his former acquaintances, and to choose a snake to cultivate. As for parting ways with Master 30 years later? That's impossible. Hancock depends on Khan for the rest of his life. Looking at Khan's group who are discussing the modification of the Grandine, Scarlet and Violet, who are outsiders, look envious. They would love to get involved too. After more than a month of getting along, Khan has successfully gained the favor of Scarlet, Violet, and even the ornament-like Manchueli. The 3 women have formed partnerships with Khan and his group. Natural observation hockey read their hearts, and Khan took the opportunity to deliver a fatal blow. He glanced around, smiled at the Scarlet 4 girls, and said, Scarlet, Violet, Manchueli, Koala. What's the difference with your transformation of the Grandine? Request. Eh? Ask us? Scarlet was taken aback for a moment, then pointed to herself in disbelief. Can I also raise ideas? Of course, we're companions now, aren't we? Khan waved to Scarlet's children and said with a smile, come over and discuss it, let me hear your thoughts. Hee hee. Then I won't be polite. Scarlet burst into elation, bouncing over with her hands behind her back. The favorability of Khan in my heart skyrocketed in an instant. Violet, Manchueli sitting on Robin's fragrant shoulders, and Koala, who just joined and put her position very low, all have a skyrocketing affection for Khan and her own master. At this time, Khan showed the temperament of the head of the family. I want a swimming pool so that I can swim in the boat at night or on cloudy days. It would be even better if there is a swimming pool in the boat and on the roof. It's a good idea. When holding a banquet, it may be more fun to have an open-air swimming pool filled with drinks or drinks. Wow. I just want to take a bath or swim. Hancock, you want to use the pool for drinks and alcohol? Of course, I can't swim after all. After the Grandine passed through the waterway and entered the port of the capital of 7 Waters, the daughters of Robin were still discussing the transformation of the Grandine. Therefore, Khan was not in a hurry to find the shipyard immediately, but brought Robin and his daughters to the hotel on Central Street and opened 2 of the most luxurious suites. On the way, the appearance of Khan's gang also caused a huge commotion in the capital of 7 Waters. For the world protagonists of the previous 2 days, no matter how blind people are, it is impossible not to recognize them. Seeing this year's strongest Gemini appear in the capital of 7 Waters, everyone cast curiosity, admiration, fascination, and awe at Khan and his group. Different eyes represent different groups of people. Among them, most of the gazes are infatuation, corresponding to ordinary men and women. Because Khan and Hancock are not only the strongest twin stars this year, but also a combination of handsome men and beautiful women. In particular, Hancock is called the most beautiful woman in the world by Shi Jingbao. Have to say, fame is a super plus point. Obviously, the looks of Robin and Scarlet are only a little weaker than Hancock. Robin's figure is only a little weaker than Hancock's, and he belongs to the kind that can't see the difference at all. But the two women followed behind Khan, but they didn't attract much attention. All men and women are playing Khan and Hancock. Because one of them is the walking natural disaster, who dared to kill the nobles of the world with a bounty of 1.555 billion Baileys. The other is the first bounty offered, which is as high as 592 million Baileys, creating the highest bounty record for a female pirate for the first time, the most beautiful woman in the world. Ignoring the gazes of these passers-by, Khan and his group stayed in the luxurious suite of the hotel and talked until the afternoon before they put on a simple disguise, put on the characteristic masks of the capital of Seven Waters, and went shopping. Until Khan and Hancock's presence subsides, they won't be able to get on vacation without a disguise. Because both Khan and Hancock have unique perceptions, they can see the entire capital of Seven Waters. So after going out, Khan and his group were divided into several groups, and they played their own games. Robin took Manchueli and Koala as a group, and the three walked towards the bookstore. Mary and Sonia, together with Scarlet and Violet, wandered around the capital of Seven Waters. Only Hancock, who has nothing to buy and is not interested in shopping, is the only one among the 5 maids who still wears a maid outfit. He followed Khan to the shipyard in the capital of Seven Waters. During this period of time, Carrera, the largest shipyard in the original book, had not yet been born. Because this year's Mr. Bingshan is only 21 years old, Master Tom is not dead yet, and Frankie has not yet become a reformer. They are 3 masters and apprentices, and they are still working on the sea train. It wasn't until Sea Circle calendar 1508 that Tom's studio devoted 10 years of hard work to the sea train. Moreover, the capital of the Seven Waters in the original work is not actually the only shipyard like the Carrera Company, but it took Bingberg 8 years to integrate the 7 shipbuilding companies in the capital of the Seven Waters into the Carrera Company. In other words, there are actually 7 shipbuilding companies in the current capital of Seven Waters. Khan brought Hancock to the largest shipbuilding company at present, and asked them to find the best designers to draw out their ideas, and then asked them to send the best shipbuilders to the Grandine. The interior was remodeled. It is bound to take a lot of time from drawing design drawings to renovation. During this trip to the capital of Seven Waters, Khan and his group also stayed for more than half a month. The time came to the end of July of 1503 in the Sea Circle calendar. After more than half a month of rush work, the Grandine finally completed the internal renovation. At this time, the appearance of the Grandine remains unchanged. The color is still blue and white. The bow is the image of Khan in full body, a medium-sized brig with 2 masts, 2 main sails, and 6 jibs. However, on the deck and the roof of the cabin, a little change has taken place. First of all, the lawn is covered with the deck of the bow, while the deck at the stern is transformed into a little garden, which is specially used for growing flowers and vegetables. On the roof of the cabin, there are more open-air furniture and an additional open-air swimming pool that can be opened and closed freely. As for the inside of the cabin, earth-shaking changes were ushered in. In the previous Grandine, the 2 cabins with the largest space were used to store treasures, so none of the rooms had been decorated, and all of them were empty. It is obviously a medium-sized sailboat of the 100-meter level, but it only has a living room, kitchen and bathroom, as well as a sleeping room, and a gym dedicated to practicing. When Robin reads, he either reads on the deck, or can only read in the living room and room. But now, there are viewing halls, dance halls, bars, wine cellars, coffee shops, small casinos, libraries, indoor swimming pools, indoor courts, indoor shooting ranges, and aquariums in the cabins. There is even a big bathhouse and so on. When bored in the future, Khan and his team no longer just ride the Weeba, blowing the sea breeze on the sea, or swimming in the sea. Just like now, set up a makeshift volleyball court on the lawn deck of the Grandine sailing towards Long Island. Robin and Scarlet, as well as Hancock and Mary 4 girls, are playing open-air volleyball in pairs, wearing bikinis of different colors. And Khan is holding a camera and frantically taking pictures beside him. These are all famous scenes. Khan must save them. In the original book, what impressed Khan the most was the scene of Nami and Robin playing volleyball 2 years after the original book. The image of the turbulent waves will never be forgotten even if Khan is a human being. And now, the Hancock 4 girls are recreating the classics. Khan decided that after a while he would bring over the basketball from his previous life, teach the basketball rules to Robin's 4 daughters, and then play basketball with them. Re-practice catching the ball with both hands and breaking the press. Seeing Khan taking pictures of them, Hancock's 4 girls' desire to win became stronger. Gradually, the 4 girls all played a real fire. In the end, the 2 sisters, Hancock and Mary, won. No way, even without hockey and fruit abilities, Hancock's physique is still the strongest among the 4 girls. This physique is not only strength, but also flexibility. Obviously has a height of 1.91 meters, but Hancock, like a beautiful snake, can pose a variety of difficult poses. When the master-servant relationship between Khan and Hancock goes further, Khan will be happy. For the next week, Khan and his crew experience the brand new Grandine. The indoor and outdoor swimming pools are occupied by Scarlett, Sonia, and Koala, who are not yet capable. Robin is often seen in libraries, coffee shops, and viewing halls. Once you can't find anyone, go to these 3 places and you will be able to find this sister you. Hancock and Mary are often in the indoor shooting range, picking up the required archery skills of the 9 snakes. Since discovering his kicking talent, the gold jewelry and protective gear that Hancock carried with him no longer turned into a golden stick, but a golden longbow. At the same time, Hancock also asked the very fashionable Robin to help her design a pair of high heels. Then Hancock used ray metallurgy to create a pair of gold high heels. In gold, Hancock is mixed with silver. In this way, the speed of Hancock's lightning kick will become faster. Now Hancock is majoring in archery and kicking, as well as Marine 6 styles and hockey. In this way, time quietly turned over the last page of July and came to August. During this time, Khan also took Scarlett's children to a trip to the height of 10,000 meters to see the beauty of Sky Island. They also took them to Alabasta, a super large island, and saw an ancient human country with a history of thousands of years and a population of tens of millions. Finally, Khan brought Robin and his daughters to Magnetic Drum Island, and started the first business while they were admiring the snow scenery. This business is to read the memories of the Drum Island doctor, learn about the types of medicines, how to get those medicines, and how to make medicines into potions, etc. As long as he understands and masters this knowledge, Khan can obtain seeds through black market channels, and let the little people help him cultivate them. The future Cross family will definitely be involved in the drug business, and will become a giant in this field. In the end, Khan brought Robin's daughters to Prehistoric Island. There are a large number of ancient creatures that have been extinct from the outside world living here, as well as some poisonous insects carrying viruses called incurable diseases in the outside world. In addition, there are also legends of 2 giants living here. They are the 2 captains of the giant soldiers pirates, nearly 100 years ago. They offered a bounty to break your blue ogre Dory and red ogre Brogy, nearly 100 years ago. These 2 giants have been fighting on the prehistoric island for 83 years. As for the reason for the battle, each of them captured a sea kings, and then because of a little girl's question, they started arguing about whose prey was bigger, and here began a battle that would last for 100 years. Their battle also led to the decline of the giant soldiers pirates, which was the overlord on the Grand Line 83 years ago. It can be said that it is a child's play to decline for such a reason. But it is this kind of child's play that makes the courtiers appear innocent. The pure giant family is already the world's most powerful countries. If the giant race is not pure, then this race and this country will become a serious problem for the world government. After landing on the island, Khan used telekinesis to bring the wine in the wine cellar, and took the initiative to find Dory and Brogy to make friends. Dory and Brogy, who haven't had a good wine for many years, were immediately liked by Khan. While drinking, he was successfully met by Khan, and using the natural observation hockey, he found the cultivation method of the glory spear, the most proud master of the giant family, from their memory. These 3 guns of glory are the strongest moves among Al Buff's giant warriors, Hero's Gun. This move is the same as Elisabello II's King's Fist. It can create a very terrifying shockwave, easily destroy a fortress, and fly thousands of objects into the air. This trick is also most suitable for people with huge bodies. Khan can also use this trick after he becomes a full-body dragon, and its power is absolutely no less than the breath of the dragon. The battle with Sengoku made Khan realize his own shortcomings, and he needs to enrich his arsenal. In addition to the Gun of Heroes, there are 2 Guns of Glory, both of which are weapons. They are one of Charlotte Linlin's famous tricks, Prestige, and the combined skill, Hikoku. If 2 superpowers use Hikoku at the same time, then the combined skill will be promoted to Hikoku. And Bahai is also recognized as the strongest fusion skill in the pirate world before Khan crossed. After successfully obtaining the cultivation method of the giant's 3 guns of glory, Khan and his group finally arrived at the inversion mountain by driving the Grandine. Here, Khan and his group met a group of people who had been waiting for a long time. What mother? Seeing that group of people, the 3 Bo-Ya sisters suddenly shouted in surprise. Immediately, Hancock opened the electric field, turned into a bolt of lightning and disappeared on the deck of the Grandine, appearing on the shore of the Twin Point Lighthouse. Looking at a short old woman standing next to a man and a woman, Hancock asked excitedly, "What mother? Why did you appear here? You still have the nerve to ask." The old mother-in-law reprimanded her with a sullen face. "The Empress asked you to guard the boat. Why did you disappear when you came back? Besides, they searched the entire island, but they couldn't find you. They thought you were abducted by human traffickers. It turned out that only a few months later, you turned from 12 to 18 years old, and you were offered a reward of 592 million Baileys, and you were called the most beautiful woman in the world. If it weren't for your appearance in the outline of your childhood, and your name is not wrong, I would have thought it was the wrong person. Hancock, shouldn't you give me an explanation?" Looking at Granny Yi, who was suppressing her anger, Hancock smiled a little embarrassedly. "Grandma Yi, don't be so angry. I'll introduce someone to you after Sonia and Mary come over." "Is the person you want to introduce to the old man the walking scourge Cross-Con?" Looking at the Grandine that was heading towards Cape Twins, Grandma Z said in a deep voice again, "Is that kid who abducted your 3 sisters?" "No, it was the master who saved us." Hancock shook his head and explained simply, "In February, Sonia and I were indeed abducted by human traffickers. Because we are fighters of the 9 Snake Clan, a very rare ethnic group, those human traffickers took us to the Sabodi archipelago and sold us to the auction house there. It was the master who rescued us. And also helped us eliminate the shadows, and found me the incomparably precious Logia Thunder Fruit, so that I have the power to protect Sonia and the others. Grandma, Sonia and I are now the master's maids, and will use this life to repay his kindness. I hope you will respect the master." Speaking of the last sentence, Hancock's little face was very serious. Hearing this, a man and a woman standing next to Granny Z, among them, the black-haired sister Yu with a cigarette between her fingers, looked at Hancock with eyes full of admiration. "Maid?" The mother-in-law frowned and said, "Even if you want to repay him, there is no need for all 3 of you to be his maids, right? You are a genius in our Amazon Lily Kingdom, who mastered 2-color hockey at the age of 12. How can you be someone else's maid?" "Because I want to." Seeing that Granny Yi's attitude is still so bad, Hancock immediately put his hands on his hips, wearing high heels to reach a height of 1.92 meters, looking down at the short and ugly Granny Z, with a displeased expression on his face. "Grandma Yi, to see you again, I'm all happy, but can you speak a little nicer?" The mother-in-law who was reprimanded by Hancock couldn't help but widen her eyes, and pointed in disbelief at Hancock, who was trained to protect a man everywhere after only a few months. What was she going to say? "Gloriosa, calm down." At this time, the black-haired sister Yu suddenly said, "Have you forgotten the purpose of this trip? You have offended little Hancock's benefactor like this, be careful that she refuses your request." Shaggy is right. The blonde-haired middle-aged man next to the black-haired sister also nodded in agreement. Good. This couple, even though they haven't settled in Sabodi archipelago yet, still has a handsome blonde, Pluton, Silver Rayleigh, and the previous emperor of Amazon Lily Kingdom, and the former captain of 9 Snake Pirates, Shaggy. The old man's tone was too aggressive. Hearing what Shao-Chi and Rayleigh said, Grandma Zha seemed to remember something, and then calmed down and apologized to Hancock. Looking at the 3 people who were talking riddles, Hancock tilted his head, and a big question mark jumped out on his smooth forehead. "Grandma." Not waiting for Hancock to ask the identity of the man and woman, the voices of Sonia and Mary suddenly came to my ears. Seeing that the Grandine had docked, Sonia and Mary jumped off the boat and trotted towards this side. "Sonia, Marie, have you grown up too?" Looking at Sonia, who is 2.5 meters, and Mary, who is 1.83 meters, the mother-in-law who recognized them by their hair color widened her eyes again. "Yeah, we are all 18 years old now." Mary, who ran over, hugged Granny Z very enthusiastically, and said with a smile on her face, "Grandma Yi, how did you find us? Empress and the others, are they all right?" However, Granny Z's next words froze the smiles on the faces of Mary and Sonia. Grandma Z said with a blank expression, "The Empress is dead." "How? How is it possible?" Mary put her mother-in-law back on the ground, her expression terrified. "My Empress is so powerful, how could she die?" "Grandma." What happened to the 9 snake pirates during the few months we were away? Hancock also asked anxiously. The Empress didn't die in battle, but died of illness. Looking at the 3 Boya sisters with sad faces, Granny Z explained slowly. After returning from this expedition, the Empress suffered from lovesickness, which is an incurable disease. At that time, she couldn't bear it and passed away. After finishing speaking, Grandma Z looked up at Hancock and said with a serious face, Hancock, I came here this time to take you back. You are the most suitable candidate to inherit the position of Empress. What clothes? Hancock was slightly taken aback, then shook his head again and said, No, I refuse, I won't go back. 3 consecutive refusals without the slightest hesitation. It can be seen that, in Hancock's heart, the balance between Daughter Island and Khan has already completely fallen to Khan's side. The dream of every 9 snake warrior is to become an empress. But now, Hancock's dream has long since changed from being an empress to serving Khan. Hancock, who is used to the wonderful life outside, does not want to go back to Daughter Island in the windless zone. You. How can you say such a thing? Seeing Hancock who refused decisively, Grandma Z once again showed astonishment, pointed at Hancock and reprimanded. It is the duty of every Hydra warrior to protect the Amazon Lily Kingdom. Have you forgotten? Of course I haven't forgotten. Hancock held his head high and retorted. I will protect the Amazon Lily Kingdom, but not in the way of becoming an empress, but wait until Master and I become the overlords of the sea, and then use the flag of the Cross family to protect Daughter Island. No, the mother-in-law shook her head and said, 9 snake warriors only obey the Empress's words. Only when you become an empress and lead the Amazon Lily Kingdom to glory, will you be truly brilliant. Seeing that Granny Yi is still so stubborn, Hancock's face suddenly sank, blue and white electric arcs swirled around him, and he said coldly, Anyway, I won't go back with you. Are you going to fight the old man? Looking at Hancock who was in a fighting pose, Grandma Z glared at Hancock and said. Do you want to do it with me? Hancock stared back, pointed at Rayleigh and Shao-Chi and asked in a deep voice. If you find these 2 guys with strong auras, you can't reach an agreement, so you want to take me back by force? Grandma Z pointed at Hancock with her crutch, and was so angry that she couldn't speak at all. Look, Gloriosa, I told you when I came here, be nice. At this time, Shao-Chi came out, laughed and joked. You should be able to see through the reward order that little Hancock is a very proud girl, and you can't do it by force. Who are you? Hancock looked at Shaggy and Rayleigh warily, and asked. If had such a strong aura from these 2 people, Hancock's attitude towards Granny Z would not be so bad. After all, there is only Granny Yi alone. With Hancock's strength, as long as she is unwilling to go back, Grandma Yi can't do anything to her. But these 2 people in front of her, their auras are not weaker than hers. Especially the blonde middle-aged man exuded an extremely dangerous aura. The last time Hancock felt this kind of aura was from the Saboti Archipelago event, the Marine Admiral who fought the Master. In other words, this middle-aged man is likely to be at the level of a Master. One Piece's deputy, Pluton, Silver Rayleigh. No time for Grandma to introduce these 2 to Hancock, nor time for Rayleigh and Shaggy to introduce themselves. Khan's voice came over lovingly. I saw Khan walking slowly with Robin, looked at Rayleigh and said, I didn't expect to meet such a big man like you in this place. Pluton Rayleigh? Robin widened his beautiful eyes and looked at Rayleigh in surprise. He is the deputy of One Piece? Yo, young man. You seem to be making a lot of noise in Saboti Archipelago. Rayleigh raised his hand to greet Khan, and said with a smile, it's something that we old guys from the old days can't do to make Sengoku suffer. Indeed, with such strength at the age of 15, even that woman from Big Mom is far inferior at the age of 15. Shao-Chi also flicked the cigarette ash, and said with a smile, also, Little Khan is obviously a natural destroyer, but he doesn't have the upgraded human body like Big Mom and Whitebeard. He is also a handsome guy, and little Hancock is really a match made in heaven. A couple created every day. Hancock, who was originally full of hostility towards Rayleigh and Shaggy, was immediately crushed by Shaggy's words. I saw her holding her beautiful cheeks in both hands, and said shyly, what, so you are a good person? Allah Allah. Seeing the incomparably innocent Hancock, Shao-Chi smiled meaningfully. Little Hancock, you just said that you will use this life to repay Little Khan, so you don't want to go back to Daughter Island, right? That's right. Hancock, who was pulled back to his senses, put his hands on his hips and said seriously, Master is our benefactor, and it is also because of Master's trust and investment that I am what I am now. No matter what, I will never leave Master. Well said. A girl who knows how to repay her kindness is a good girl. Shao-Chi nodded in agreement, and Hancock was immediately full of affection for the black-haired Yuji, who praised her and the master as a match made in heaven. Only that in the next second, Shao-Chi said, "If you want to repay your favor, I suggest you go back and become the next empress." After finishing speaking, before Hancock could speak, Shao-Chi continued, "I have investigated your Cross family, and now your family should have a few people like you in Song Dynasty. There is only one island of Morlaix in the territory. If the Cross family wants to become one of the overlords of the New World in the future, it must expand its territory and expand its military force. So, instead of using some unfamiliar strangers as subordinates and gradually building trust with them, what else should we do? To prevent them from betraying in the future, why not use someone who is trustworthy and familiar with their character from the beginning?" With a slight pause, Shao-Chi chuckled under Hancock and Granny Z's wide-eyed gaze. "As long as you become the new Empress of 9 Snakes, little Hancock, then let your master come over at that time. With the superpowers of phantom beasts, wouldn't it be enough to bring Daughter Island back to the New World?" Shao-Chi, what are you talking about?" Looking at Shao-Chi, Grandma Z stammered. "With such a crazy suggestion, is Shaki going to be a traitor?" Seemingly hearing Granny Yi's voice, Shao-Chi took a puff of cigarette and said slowly, "Gu Luo Liu Sa, I did this for the good of my daughter. Don't forget how this empress died. Little Hancock and little Khan are a match made in heaven. With her feelings for little Khan, if we forcibly take her back, she may die before becoming an empress. Moreover, Daughter's Island has not made any progress in the past few hundred years. The Windless Zone cannot become a permanent safe haven. Amazon Lily Kingdom should make changes." Hearing this, my mother-in-law couldn't help but fell silent. Hancock, on the other hand, held his chin with a pensive look on his face. It has to be said that Shaggy really convinced Hancock. After gaining a certain understanding of the outside world, Hancock knew very well that the 9 snake warriors of their daughter island were definitely overlords in the first half of the Grand Line. Even in the sea area of the New World, the country where all fighters master hockey is an undoubted powerful country and an absolute powerful class. If he becomes the Empress and leads all the 9 snake warriors and people to become the main force of the Cross family, then the Cross family will only need to recruit the affiliated pirates in the future. The important things are handled by the trustworthy 9 snake warriors, and some dirty things are handed over to those affiliated pirates who are attached to the Cross family, and walk outside with the help of the Cross family flag up. Thinking of this, Hancock was even more moved. So, for the first time, she didn't ask Khan for advice, but nodded to her mother-in-law and said, "Okay, I promise to go back with you and become the new Empress. But let me tell you in advance, if I become an Empress, I will lead the Amazon Lily Kingdom, and the 9 snake pirates, and become the main force of the Cross family." "Why, mother-in-law, if you give up your mind now, there is still time." The old man agrees. The mother-in-law's expression struggled for a while. Seeing this, Shao-Chi bent over, lowered his head to Granny Z's ear, and whispered a few times. She didn't know what Shao-Chi was talking about, but the mother-in-law's expression changed suddenly, and she nodded in agreement with Hancock. And Hancock and Khan, who have a unique perception and can eavesdrop on conversations, have slightly weird faces. Half an hour later. "Master, wait for us, we will be back soon." Saying goodbye to Khan and others, Hancock took Sonia and Mary aboard Shaki and Rayleigh's sailboat, stood on the side of the ship, waved to the Grandine and shouted, "Don't worry, you can't escape." Khan also waved back. "Master, why did you agree to Hancock's departure?" Watching Rayleigh and their sailboat disappear, Robin asked Khan just now, "Aren't you afraid that after Hancock returns, he will be brainwashed by those high-level officials, assume the responsibility of the king, and change his mind?" Khan looked at Robin silently, his eyes made Robin a little guilty, and he didn't dare to look at him. Immediately, Khan raised his hand, touched the head of Robin, who was taller than him, and preached with a smile, "Since we are all family members, we must have confidence in our family members, understand? I know I was wrong, master." Robin, who was seen to be thinking, couldn't help but lowered his head, showing guilt in a rare way. As the most mature existence among the girls. Except for not revealing his identity as a time traveler, and concealing that his natural observation hockey can read people's hearts, June will tell Luo almost everything. Therefore, Robin is very clear that Khan and Hancock's unique perception can eavesdrop on long-distance conversations. Rayleigh and their sailboat had just left, and the Grandine was still within Hancock's perception. Bin's words, rather than asking Khan, might as well be a reminder, or a warning to Hancock. She still doesn't trust the three Bo-Ya sisters who have only been together for a few months. At this time, Khan, the head of the family, needs to stand up. After these words, Hancock will definitely be moved. Khan, who was planning to plan, showed a smile of planning in his heart. Khan did nothing to stop Hancock from leaving. On the contrary, he is actually very much in favor of Hancock going back, and then helping him take over Daughter Island. Dressrosa and the Amazon Lily Kingdom are two of the three countries that Khan is eyeing. In order to get the effects of Dressrosa, the future Queen Scarlet and Violet, and the Kingdom of Dantada next door to Dressrosa, Khan will take Scarlet's children so patiently during this time, and repeat them, adventures experienced. Likewise, even if Grandma didn't ask Rayleigh and Shaggy to bring her over to Hancock. One day, Khan will also let Hancock return to Daughter Island and help him conquer the Amazon Lily Lord. In addition to Wano Kuni, Amazon Lily Kingdom has a complete hockey system and can mass-produce hockey powerhouses. Moreover, the women in this country are as pure as the little people and the giants, and they are trustworthy existences. Like Khan's trip to the Sabaody archipelago, the 3 devil fruits he harvested, among which the 2 zone snake fruits as gifts, can be used to train outstanding 9 snake warriors. Don't worry about them becoming capable and gaining powerful power after that, Khan would be betrayed. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as the Amazon Lily Kingdom is mastered, Khan, like Kaido, does not need to expand too much territory, but only needs to cultivate a few trustworthy giants and cadres, and recruit a few affiliated pirate groups. You can become one of the overlords of the New World. The daughters of Hancock are the top cadres of the Cross family, and the fighters of the 9 Snakes are Crow's military team. With both, Khan is full-fledged. When he gets the 3rd country, the general trend has been accomplished, and New World has entered the era of Cross Khan. After bidding farewell to the 3 Boya sisters, Khan used telekinetic power to prop up the Grandine, flew over the upside-down mountain, and returned to West Blue, one of the 4 seas. After a few months, returning to this sea area again, Khan's identity and status seem to have undergone earth-shaking changes. Although the Grand Line is one of the smallest sea areas in the world, it is just a route sandwiched between the 4 seas in the windless zone. But it is such a route, but it is the road of the strong recognized by the whole world. Only the pirates who prove themselves on this road to the strong can be called the real big pirates. Otherwise, the big pirates who do whatever they want in the 4 seas are just fake big pirates. Just as New World clearly belongs to the Grand Line, it is only the second half of the Grand Line. But the pirates of New World call the first half of the Grand Line a paradise, thinking that the pirates who make a big splash in the paradise are just playing trick games. The pirates in the first half of the Grand Line also look down on the pirates of the 4 seas, and the 4 seas look down on the weakest East Blue. This kind of chain of contempt in the sea is very obvious in this world. When entering the Grand Line, Khan, who had 2 auras of the strongest supernova in history, and has 2 monster templates, still made the pirates of the Grand Line very unconvinced to him, and countless people wanted to step on him. Become famous all over the world. But in just 5 months, Khan has jumped from the strongest supernova in history to one of New World's great pirates, and one of the strongest twin stars, with a bounty of 1.555 billion Baileys. Another, strongest Gemini, and world's most beautiful woman, is also his maid. At this time, Khan, just like Shanks in the original book, is already the most famous big man in West Blue. Back at the West Blue, Khan immediately called Capone Beeg. 2 days later, when Khan came to the current headquarters of the Capone family and met with Capone Beeg had already prepared what Khan wanted. It was a square, 50 centimeters wide and 1 meter high. As for what is inside, probably only Khan and Capone Beeg know. Beeg, from now on, you don't need to hide our relationship anymore. Using telekinesis to put the box into the cabin, Khan said to Capone Beeg, in the future, when expanding the territory, or encountering difficulties and dangers, you can take out the flag of the Cross family. You can call me. Also, when I return to New World, the Cross family will officially join the Dark World and start expanding their business. At that time, I will cooperate with Umit, one of the kings of the Dark World, known as the Sea Transport King, and let his transport ship transport part of the minerals of Morelli Island to West Blue for you. You quickly unify West Blue's gang. I see, $S. Kabig said respectfully. Do well, I will help you find a powerful devil fruit in New World. Khan patted Capone Beeg on the shoulder and started to paint him. Next, Khan's group spent a day at Capone Bega's base camp and received Capone Bega's warm hospitality. The next day, Khan drove the Grandine and took Scarlet and his daughters to some of the more prosperous islands in West Blue. They played for a week, and finally went to the island where Khan grew up for a day before leaving West Blue. This trip back to West Blue, Khan came here specially to pick up things from Capone Beeg. If it weren't for the Scarlet girls, who were very curious about Khan's hometown, Khan wouldn't even take them to play in West Blue for a few days. After a brief visit to West Blue, Khan used telekinetic power to support the Grandine, flew over the Inversion Mountain again, and entered North Blue, which has the strongest comprehensive strength in the world. North Blue will be called the strongest sea area in the 4 seas, not because of the 2 monsters Vice Admiral, the future Marine Marshal and Admirals Sakazuki and Paluzolino, but because of the constant wars and harsh living conditions here. The environment has caused the powerhouses here to be more valuable than those in other sea areas. In addition, there is also a well-known killer family in the Dark World, who used force to suppress and rule North Blue's Germa 66 inches a long time ago. And the Don Quixote family, which is developing rapidly and has become one of the giants in the Dark World of North Blue. The reason why Khan returned to West Blue from New World, but did not want to stay in West Blue for a long time, was to come to North Blue and find someone. And that person is Don Quixote Doflamingo, the patriarch of the Don Quixote family. By the way, the black market phone call that Khan received in Saboti Archipelago, and the document faxed to him by the other party is the information of Don Quixote family. Don Quixote Doflamingo, this is a very contradictory and very charming villain. Born to enjoy all the privileges, but because of his father's stupid operation, this child who should have become a world-class playboy embarked on an evil path full of inspiration. In the fear and anger of death, Conqueror's Haki was awakened at the age of 8. Looking at the entire pirate world, only Yamato can compare with Doflamingo. Even Khan, a time traveler, only awakened the Conqueror's Haki when he was 9 years old. And Potter Cass D. Ace, the son of One Piece, and the perfect work of the Charlotte family, also awakened Conqueror's Haki when he was 10 years old. Logically speaking, Doflamingo has awakened Conqueror's Haki at this age, so he should have unlimited potential. And indeed it is. If at this time, Doflamingo meets a good teacher and accepts his teaching since he was a child, then he will definitely be a very good hockey powerhouse in the future. Maybe he can master the in his 20s just like Yamato, Conqueror's entanglement of different dimension level. It is a pity that the fate of this former celestial dragons who fell from the altar is doomed to be extremely rough. Instead of a mentor, he meets a group of losers fleeing the Grand Line. The 10-year-old Doflamingo ate the paramecia string fruit given by this group of losers, locking up his own potential. Then Doflamingo, who is obviously very talented in hockey and fruit development, has worked hard for decades, but he can't even beat a deputy. On the other hand, like him, Yamato, who awakened Conqueror's Haki at the age of 8, ate the Zone Dog Fruit Phantom Beast Oguchi True God form that Kaido found so hard to maximize his physical fitness and potential. Then under the teaching of Kaido, Taijutsu and Conqueror's Haki are all grandmasters, and also comprehended Conqueror's Winding. 25 years old is the existence of the highest cadre of the 4 Emperor's pirates, and 28 years old is the rank of Deputy Emperor. This is the benefit of eating the top fruit and being taught by a good teacher. They are also awakened at the age of 8. Conqueror's Haki, Yamato and Doflamingo are 2 extremes. What's even worse is that Doflamingo's achievements of decades of struggle have directly changed from the most successful 7 warlords of the sea to the worst 7 warlords of the sea just because he offended Luffy, the son of destiny. When Khan crossed, this Brother Ming was also called Brother Ming. But I have to admit that this Brother Ming is a talent that even Khan would go all the way from New World to find him. Doflamingo in the original book is miserable because he doesn't have the ultimate strength. In this world where strength is paramount, he has to be a little brother. If Doflamingo has the strength of a super strong man, then this person is terrifying. If you think about it carefully, with the strength of a super strong who wants to give face to everyone, and also masters the secrets of the national treasure of the Celestial Dragon's family, even the 5 elders have nothing to do with him, and they have to cooperate with him and Kaido. Then in the Dark World, they have all powerful hands, with forces all over the world, selling arms everywhere to create wars, black and white take all. Such a person, as long as he has the strength of a super strong, the Straw Hat Pirates enter the New World, they must avoid his pursuit. But unfortunately, Doflamingo does not have such strength. So his fate is doomed to be extremely rough. After entering the New World, he needs to please Kaido. And now, Doflamingo, who is not yet a legal pirate, has to keep avoiding the hunt of Crane Vice Admiral, living like his title in the Dark World. What a joke. But now Doflamingo still has a breath to breathe. Because Marine wants to find him in North Blue, one of the largest seas in the world, it is also difficult. It wasn't until next year that Doflamingo accidentally found his younger brother Don Quixote Rocinante, also known as Corazon, and life became more and more difficult, and the trace became more and more difficult to find. But now, his intelligence and location are not secrets in the eyes of some colleagues in the dark world. So when Khan called the black market and asked if they could help him find a Doflamingo location, the black market that has raised Khan's level to a super VIP, second only to the three monsters, immediately betrayed Doflamingo, who is still a little guy. A week later, Khan and his gang came to a small town ruled by a small gang on the surface, but actually one of the strongholds of the Don Quixote family. However, as soon as the Grandine arrived in this small town, it immediately alarmed the Don Quixote family, who were full of eyeliners and would run away as soon as they saw a warship. Dover. We found the Grandine at the docks, the Grandine of Cross Khan the Walking Scourge. As one of the top cadres, Toripal, who is not only weak in strength, but also very weak in courage, shouted to the 22-year-old Doflamingo in panic. They didn't dare to enter the Grand Line. To be precise, they escaped from the Grand Line, because they were frightened by the powerful pirates and wanted to return to the weak world, looking for someone with conqueror's hockey to be their king and protect them. Therefore, among these weak people in the world, no one knows better than Toribal what kind of existence Cross Khan really is. The heavenly dragon that destroys the island dares to kill the nobles of the world, even Marine Admiral is helpless. Is it really a coincidence that such a big man suddenly appeared on their territory? Cross Khan. Doflamingo, who was reading a book and trying to improve his culture, paused slightly when he flipped the pages of the book, and his pupils shrank even more under the black mirror. For this name that has caused a sensation in the world 3 times in a row this year, Doflamingo's impression is simply not too deep. There are 2 main reasons why he was so impressed with this name. One is that after Doflamingo was not accepted by the celestial dragons and could not return to Marie Joyce, he vowed to turn the world dominated by the celestial dragons upside down. Obviously it is also celestial dragons, but Doflamingo hates celestial dragons. Therefore, when someone dared to kill the group of pigs, and the gang had nothing to do with the murderer afterwards, it was difficult for Doflamingo not to remember the name Cross Khan. The second is that after Don Quixote family became one of the giants of North Blue, Doflamingo has been thinking about when to enter the Grand Line and how to develop after entering the Grand Line. After raising his own cultural standards, Doflamingo thought of the New World, Dressrosa, which was ruled by their ancestors hundreds of years ago. That place is very suitable to be the base camp of Don Quixote family. But wanting to regain Dressrosa, to be precise, seize the power of the Alliance countries, this is extremely difficult, and it can be called a dead end. If Doflamingo seizes power by force, then even if he is a former celestial dragons who knows the secret of Marie Joy's national treasure, the 5 old guys will not forgive him. Therefore, Doflamingo must have a legal identity and a reasonable reason in order to regain Dressrosa's regime. And that legal identity is Shichibukai. But it didn't wait for Doflamingo to think about how to obtain legal pirate status. A piece of news poured cold water on Doflamingo. Because Cross Khan, who became famous all over the world at the age of 15 and has 2 monster templates, moved the island of Morlaix he occupied next to Dressrosa, and established a long-term cooperation with the main country of Dressrosa. It is better to say it is long-term protection than long-term cooperation. To regain Dressrosa's regime, now not only need a legal identity, a reasonable reason, but also the ability to defeat monsters. This made Doflamingo, whose fate was already rough, even more uncomfortable. And now, why did this monster, who was supposed to dominate the New World and compete for territory with those big pirates and even the Overlord, appear in this countryside? And it was a coincidence that he just came to his stronghold again. Is this really just a coincidence? Dover, shall we escape? Looking at the pensive Doflamingo, Toripal said very hopelessly. What? Toribal, if the target of this walking scourge is us, we will not be able to escape. Doflamingo did not blame Toribal for being weak, but showed a smile explaining what is evil, and said slowly, Cross Khan, he is a zone dragon fruit phantom beast dragon form ability user. This devil fruit not only has the body of a phantom beast, but also has the superpower of a phantom beast. And Tianlong's superpower is telekinesis. This superpower is similar to Golden Lion, Shiki's Paramecia lion fruit. It can not only control all inanimate objects, but also life objects. His telekinesis can also control And this superpower also has the effect of increasing observation haki. According to the report of Shi Jingbao, when Cross Khan was fighting with Marine Admiral, he used telekinetic power to lift the sea outside the archipelago, causing a great flood natural disaster. That is to say, the opponent's perception range is at least level 25 of the island. And, after a slight pause, Doflamingo continued. Beside the opponent, there are Logia Thunderfruit capable users whose speed is not weaker than Logia Sparkling Fruit. From the moment they landed, we were already within his perception range, even his attack range. When he said the last sentence, Doflamingo's tone became more serious. After listening to his analysis, Torbol's face suddenly turned pale, and his shackled legs trembled slightly. Excellent, indeed one of the smartest guys in the pirate world. Khan, who also heard Doflamingo's words, gave a thumbs up in his heart. Therefore, Khan also used actions to affirm Doflamingo's analysis. I saw the blue thought force waves suddenly appearing out of thin air, covering Khan, Doflamingo and Torbol's body. Immediately afterwards, the faces of Doflamingo and Torbol changed dramatically. Because they discovered that after the blue Nyen Libo covered their bodies, they lost control of their bodies and were imprisoned in place. No matter how hard he struggled, Doflamingo couldn't break free from this powerful binding force. In order to make Doflamingo's impression of himself be able to be more profound, Khan took the shot a little more seriously this time, consuming a little energy. A little physical strength of a natural monster is enough to make Doflamingo, who is still trapped in North Blue, feel powerless and hopeless. Although Doflamingo awakened Conqueror's Haki at the age of 8, he has not yet mastered Conqueror's Haki. Whether it is Armament Haki or Observation Haki, they have not yet mastered, and Conqueror's Haki is also ineffective. This can be seen from the fact that Doflamingo shot and killed Corazon, but did not find the box behind Corazon hiding Trafalgar Law. Paramecia Fruit of Silence can only create a soundproof wall that cannot be seen by the naked eye, so that people inside the soundproof wall cannot hear any sound from the outside, and people outside can't hear the sound from the inside. But Observation Haki can perceive the position, size, and even strength of breath. The unique perceptions like Khan and Hancock are like the perspective of God, and can also eavesdrop on conversations and read the heart. I haven't mastered Conqueror's Haki yet, and I don't have the power of Paramecia Lily Fruit ability Oma. In Khan's eyes, Doflamingo is just like those West Blue agents and the 2 guards protecting celestial dragons. Difference. Khan can easily kill them with one thought. After exerting all his strength and unable to break free from this layer of shackles, Doflamingo's mood instantly fell to the bottom. Is this the difference between him and the great pirate of New World? It must be too big. Woo woo woo. Even Doflamingo can't break free from the shackles of telekinesis, let alone fight Repole. In addition to being able to move his eyeballs, Torbol couldn't even open his mouth, he could only make a whining sound. After suppressing Doflamingo from a long distance, Khan asked Robin to accompany Scarlet and his daughters to this small town, while he himself went to the stronghold of Don Quixote family. Hearing this, Robin knew that Khan must have serious business to do, so he took them away without asking any more questions, and without giving Scarlet a chance to express his doubts. After being separated from Robin and his daughters, Khan soon came to a villa. Bang bang bang. Wherever they passed, those Don Quixote family members or cadres who were outside or inside fell to the ground with their eyes white. This includes the real man Senor Peak. In front of Khan's Conqueror's Haki, these guys who are good in North Blue, even strong, are no different from ordinary people. While stunning these guys, Khan also squatted down, reached out to touch them, and read their memories using the natural observation Haki. Through the memories of Senor Peak and others, Khan got good news. That is Monet and Granos, neither of which has yet joined the Don Quixote family. Obviously, Doflamingo has not yet obtained the effects of Logia Snow Fruit ability user and Paramecia Tongchu Fruit ability user. Not only Monet and Granos, but even Baby 5 have not yet joined the Don Quixote family. Khan vaguely remembered that Baby -5 and Buffalo were both one of the 100 children taken in by the Don Quixote family. When these two became members of the Don Quixote family, they should not have been much faster than Luo. When Luo joined the Don Quixote family, it was C-Circle calendar 1506, that is, 3 years later. In other words, BABY5 will only become a member of the Don Quixote family in the next 3 years, while Monet and Granos will take longer. Thinking of this, Khan's mood became even better. In a few years, when the Cross family has established a firm foothold in New World, he must take some time to come over, look for Monet and Granos, and by the way cut off the so-called ultimate devil fruit, Paramecia op fruit. After collecting the information he wanted, Khan finally came to the study where Doflamingo and Toribel were. Looking at Doflamingo sitting on the armchair, and Toribel standing on the carpeted floor, Khan greeted with a chuckle. "Finally see you, Joker." No one responded to Khan, because Doflamingo and Toribel, who were bound by telekinesis, couldn't even open their mouths to speak. Seeing this, Khan said, slightly stunned, "Sorry, I forgot to untie it for you." After saying that, the blue thought force waves suddenly turned into dots of brilliance, and disappeared from Doflamingo and Toribel's bodies. Huh. Huh. Having just regained control of his body, Toribel, with weak legs, slumped on the ground, panting heavily, looking at Khan with eyes full of fear. Even Doflamingo's forehead was covered with cold sweat at this time. Looking at the gentle smile, he doesn't look like the New World pirate who destroyed the island at all, but looks like Khan, the boy next door. With his strong psychological quality, Doflamingo didn't make a fool of himself just now. Hey, Patriarch Khan, he's been famous for a long time. Doflamingo, who forcibly calmed down his emotions, also showed a wicked smile, and responded to Khan's greeting. Note that Khan's address just now is his code name in the dark world. Doflamingo did not mention Khan's title in the pirate world, but used the gangster's communication method to call Khan the Khan Patriarch. This reaction speed also made Khan appreciate Doflamingo even more. It is indeed the talent that I have come all the way to find. With his help, the Cross family will definitely become one of the overlords of the New World at an extremely fast speed, just like the original Beasts pirates. So, Khan released his kindness to Doflamingo, saying, "Joker, talk alone." Hey. It's an honor." Hearing this, Doflamingo instantly understood that Khan was not an enemy. On the contrary, they might be able to become friends. If you think about it, it would be too much of a fuss if Cross Khan came all the way from New World to North Blue just to get rid of him. And I really want to kill him. When I restrained him and Toribel with telekinetic power just now, I can easily kill them by controlling the sharp objects in the room. There is no need to come here again. In other words, Cross Khan came to him and may need him. As long as the other party needs him, Doflamingo has the confidence to satisfy the other party. As for the shame, if it was 10 years old, Doflamingo would probably be extremely angry. But now, he is 22 years old. The humiliation that the weak experience from the strong, Doflamingo has vomited on Vice Admiral for so many years. After eating, he habitually saw warships, and immediately abandoned the stronghold he had built with great difficulty, to the point of running away without looking back. 12 years of beatings from this world have made Doflamingo realize the reality, and he no longer has the arrogance of celestial dragons. At the same time, the experience of falling from the altar to the garbage also made Doflamingo full of ambitions. He wanted to climb back to the top of the world and make those who looked down on him regret for refusing him to return to Marie Joyce. As long as his ambitions and dreams can be realized, Doflamingo can endure even if he needs to temporarily kowtow to those big men. Therefore, even if Khan treats him like a trash, Doflamingo will still smile at him. No way, because he is weak. Weakness is the original sin. Toribel, you go out first. After understanding what Khan meant, Doflamingo immediately said to Toribel. I know. Toribel nodded again and again. He wished he could escape here immediately. After Toribel left, Khan didn't need Doflamingo's entertainment, so he sat on a single sofa, looked at Doflamingo opposite, and asked, "Oak, are you curious? Why do I know you? Why did you come to North Blue to find you?" "Yes." Doflamingo nodded and said, "For a small person like me, there should be no need for a big person like you to go." No. You are not a small person." Khan shook his finger and said with a smile, "Even if you are a small person now, with your ability, in the near future, you will become a big shot in the Grand Line, and even one of the kings of the Dark World." "Oh?" Doflamingo suddenly became interested, and said, "The Patriarch Khan thinks so much of me?" "Certainly." Khan nodded, but the next sentence made Doflamingo's face change suddenly. "After all, you are a former celestial dragons. With such a background, you are destined to be extraordinary." Hey. Doflamingo's eyes under the sunglasses, the pupils constricted a bit. But he didn't stand up in shock, but quickly calmed down, let out a unique evil laugh, and asked, "Did King Liku tell you?" Doflamingo is a former celestial dragons that few people know. Khan knew his identity, and Doflamingo couldn't help but think of Dressrosa who was being targeted by him. He will protect a low-level and poor member country among the more than member countries. Khan must have a close relationship with King Liku of Dressrosa. If Khan knew about the history of Dressrosa, he would know that that country was once the territory of celestial dragons. However, Khan's answer surprised Doflamingo. No. King Riku didn't tell me. I saw Khan shook his head and said, I just happen to know that there is a celestial dragons called Don Quixote Point Muscarid, and his surname is the same as yours. I see. Doflamingo was stunned, and then expressed his doubts. Since you know that I am a former celestial dragons, then you should know that I have no right to speak in Marie Joy's, and I can even be called a lost dog, so you still look after me? Certainly. Khan raised his mouth slightly, and said, with such a background, as long as you prove your worth, even if you can't return to Marie Joy's, you will become the most special king of darkness, a true black and white take-all. So, I came here specially to ask you for a favor, and to cooperate with you by the way. What do you want me to do for you? Doflamingo didn't immediately ask what to cooperate with, but asked Khan what he wanted to do for him. Smart people have the conversational ways of smart people. Khan's help comes first, and cooperation comes later. The implication is that if you want to get the favor of the walking natural disaster, or the friendship of the walking natural disaster, you must give a gift. This gift is what Khan called a help. I want you to help me find a devil fruit. Khan said. A Paramecia devil fruit, it's called Paramecia golden fruit. Golden fruit? Doflamingo raised his eyebrows, looked at Khan in surprise, and said, this is a very rare devil fruit. That's right, I want you to help me find this devil fruit. Khan nodded, and promised, as long as you help me find this devil fruit, then, Don Quixote family, and Don Quixote family, will be allies in the future. What if you can't find it? Doflamingo asked immediately. If you can't find it, then we can only have a cooperative relationship. Khan raised his elegant legs and said with a smile, our cross family will mainly deal in arms and medicines in the future, and you, Joker, are the best intermediary in the dark world. I will entrust you to sell these two things for me. Hey. I will do my best to help you find this devil fruit. After hearing that even if you can't find it, you can get in touch with Khan, Doflamingo immediately stood up, stretched out his palm to Khan and said, happy cooperation. Happy cooperation. Khan stood up and shook hands with Doflamingo, who was in his early 3 meters, then took out a card, handed it to Doflamingo, and said, this is my business card, with my contact information on it. You can call me if you have any news. No problem. Doflamingo took the business card, then with a slight hook of his finger, he used the ability of Paramecia string fruit to pull a pen and a piece of paper over. After writing a string of numbers on a piece of paper with a pen, Doflamingo handed it to Khan and said, this is my phone bug number, if needs anything, you can call me anytime. I will. Khan nodded, then declined Doflamingo's invitation to the banquet, walked out of the villa, and went to join Scarlet's children. The current Doflamingo is not qualified to sit on an equal footing with him. If he wants to gain his favor, there are only 2 ways. One is to help him find Paramecia golden fruit, and the other is to bring the greatest benefits to the Cross family, through long-term cooperation before Khan agrees to have dinner with him. Regarding this point, Doflamingo is actually very clear, so he didn't force it. Next, Doflamingo will anonymously announce in the dark world the news of purchasing the Paramecia golden fruit at a high price. It is so exciting to ally with the future master of the sea. As long as the Don Quixote family can become an ally with the Cross family, once the Don Quixote family enters the new world, it will be able to gain a firm foothold immediately. Therefore, Doflamingo will definitely get the Paramecia gold fruit by all means. Even if he can't find Paramecia golden fruit, Doflamingo has to find a devil fruit that is no less than Paramecia golden fruit, or even more precious and rare, in exchange for Khan's favor. As for Doflamingo's thoughts, Khan, who no longer paid attention to him, had no idea. The reason why he came to Doflamingo was just to see if he could trigger the butterfly effect and get the Paramecia Jinjin fruit in advance. Khan, who is familiar with the plot, knows that the Paramecia golden fruit will definitely fall into the hands of Doflamingo. If Khan doesn't come, Doflamingo will auction off the Paramecia golden fruit in order to make the Don Quixote family famous, becoming the richest man in the world in later generations, and one of the 10 kings of the dark world. And now, with Khan's promise, after Doflamingo gets the Paramecia golden fruit, will he use it to auction off his family's reputation, or will he use it in exchange for an ally relationship with the future sea overlord? I believe that even a pig knows how to choose, let alone Doflamingo, one of the smartest people in the sea. As long as Doflamingo didn't auction off the Paramecia golden fruit in a high-profile way, the chances of Gilder Tetsulo wanting to cut off his beard would be close to zero. After getting the Paramecia golden fruit, knowing how Gilder Tetsulo succeeded in Khan, he will be able to create a future richest man in the world, making the Cross family the richest first family in the world. After exchanging contact information with Doflamingo, Khan quickly reunited with the Robin girls and left the town that day. Except for the capitals of the allied countries, the other islands in the Four Seas are all backward and rural places, which are not as fun as the Grand Line. Born in the New World, Scarlet and his daughters have been to Sabodi Archipelago, the Fishmen Island below 10,000 meters, and Sky Island above 10,000 meters. Not interested at all. Khan, who didn't even play in North Blue for a while, and had already done all his business, used telekinetic power to lift the Grandine and returned to New World through the windless zone. As mentioned earlier, the Grand Line is just a route sandwiched between the Four Seas and the windless zone. The Red Line then divides the Grand Line into front and back halves. Outside the windless zone on the left and right sides of the first half, there are East Blue and South Blue. In the first half of the pirate ship, if it has strength, it can pass through the calm zone and enter East Blue or South Blue. And outside the windless zone on the left and right sides of the second half, there are North Blue and West Blue. If the pirates in these two sea areas are strong enough, and they are not afraid of the Sea Kings in the windless zone, they can enter the New World directly from the windless zone, without first going through the inverted mountain to enter the first half of the Grand Line, and then go to the coating from there. The Fishmen Island enters the New World. Now, Khan is using this method to return directly from North Blue to New World, reducing a lot of distance and time. This trip, Khan and his gang played for a whole season. In this season, they first visited New World, then returned from the Fishmen Island to the first half of the Grand Line, then traveled from the first half of the Grand Line to West Blue and North Blue, and finally returned to New World through the windless zone. In one quarter, we went back and forth to 4 sea areas. During this period, Khan first let Robin read Joey Boy's apology in the Fishmen Island, then killed celestial dragons in Sabodi Archipelago, cut off Paramecia sweet fruit and koala, and Hancock became Sea Circle Calendar 1503's most strong twin stars. The total bounty of the two exceeded 2 billion Baileys. Before returning to West Blue, we bid farewell to the 3 Boya sisters. When they return to the family, the Cross family will have a powerful hockey country with a perfect hockey system, and a fighting nation as the main force. After returning to West Blue, Kaki got necessities for the future development of the Cross family. After going to North Blue, I received the good news that Monet and Granos had not yet joined the Don Quixote family, and exchanged contact information with Doflamingo, and it was almost a sure thing to get the Paramecia golden fruit. This trip, Khan can be called a full reward. If it weren't for the lack of patience of Scarlet and the lack of time, Khan actually wanted to go to East Blue's Sixus Island to find a devil fruit. That devil fruit is the strongest kind of Logia. And Sixus Island is the island where the original Potter cast D. Ace obtained the Logia Mera Mera fruit and recruited the 10th crew member, Mascutor S. This island, and the information that Ace learns armament hockey in one day, are all from Ace's official novel. Since Ace is a highly popular character, Khan also read this novel in his previous life, so he still has a very deep impression on Sixus Island. As long as the butterfly Khan does not act, then the Logia Mera Mera fruit must belong to Potter cast D. Ace. And when Ace got the Logia Mera Mera fruit, it was Sea Circle Calendar 1517. Therefore, Khan still has 14 years to go, and he is not in a hurry to find the Logia Mera Mera fruit immediately. Of course, Khan didn't go looking for it right away. In addition to the lack of patience of Scarlet's children, it is also because there are no incapacitated members suitable for Logia Mera Mera fruit in their family. Koala has ordered the Paramecia Dango fruit, and Khan will let her eat the Paramecia Dango fruit after the Cross family base camp is completed. Scarlet, on the other hand, pre-ordered Paramecia sweet fruit to see if she has the determination to become stronger, and Khan will decide whether to give it to her. The other 2 zone snake fruits are going to be given to the warriors of the 9 Snake clan. As for Sonia, Khan took a shortcut back to New World to find devil fruit for her. I am going to wait until the 3 Boya sisters come back before giving Sonia a big surprise. The devil fruit prepared by Khan for Sonia is the same phantom beast species as him. The full name is Zone Bat Fruit Phantasmal Beast Vampire Form. Yes, the devil fruit that Khan prepared for Sonia was one of the 4 legends of the last era, and the only one among the 4 legends who defeated Marshall Marine's Red Earl. Devil fruit by Balloric Redfield, as Charlotte Linlin said. If she is not already a Paramecia soul fruit ability user, she will never give Kaido zone hyphenation point fish fruit phantom beast blue dragon form. Because the devil fruit with the highest degree of compatibility with the natural destroyer is the devil fruit of the phantom beast. Similarly, the devil fruit that is most suitable for upgraded humans is also the devil fruit of the phantom beast species. And Sonia is an upgraded human being. As long as Sonia eats the phantom beast hyphenation point vampire form, she will be like Yamato, her physical fitness and potential will be fully maximized, and she will definitely become the top cadre of the Cross family in the future, that is, one of the big three. Khan also knows the location of Zone, Bat Fruit, Phantom Beast, and Vampire. Just like Ace's official novel, Khan also played the game where the Red Earl appeared in his previous life. The location of the Phantom Beast vampire form is in a place called Sleeping Ancient Town in New World. And this devil fruit is hidden in a place that only Robin can find, or can only be found by searching the entire island. After returning to Dressrosa, Khan immediately called the black market to buy information on Sleeping Ancient Town at a high price. Where there are people, there will be history, where there are people, there will be trade, and where there is trade, there will be intelligence. And no one is better at gathering intelligence than the black market. Because the black market is just spreading news in the dark world, posting rewards similar to reward orders. Those villains such as pirates, bounty hunters or killers all over the world will not let go of any opportunity to make money. In just half a month, one of the strongholds of the black market in the New World sent people to Dressrosa and delivered a courier to Khan. This express is an eternal pointer. On the base of the eternal pointer, there is a line of letters, translated as Sleeping Ancient Town. Yes, the black market did not tell Khan the location of Sleeping Ancient Town with a phone bug, but sent Khan an eternity pointer. I don't know if the person who completed the bounty gave this eternal pointer to the black market, and then the black market handed it to Khan, or the black market sent people to make the eternal pointer with the materials of Sleeping Ancient Town, and then sent it to Khan. Superior. No matter which one it is, such a considerate way makes Khan's 8 million Baileys very worthwhile. After getting the eternal pointer of Sleeping Ancient Town, Khan took Robin and Koala, the remaining maids, one big and one small, and set off on the same day. With the help of telekinetic wind control, it only took 2 days for the Grandine to become smaller than Sleeping Ancient Town. Then it took only half an hour. With the help of Robin, Khan followed the guidance of the special text and found the fruit that had been stored for an unknown number of years. Like Logia Thunder Fruit, it had disappeared for several ages and became one of the legendary abilities. One's Zone Bat Fruit Phantom Beast Vampire form. In this way, the Cross family means that all members are capable. Time flies like a white horse, and 3 years have passed in the blink of an eye. In the past 3 years, Cross Khan, the walking natural disaster, who made a sensation in the world 3 times in a row on the Sea Circle calendar in 1503, has been very low-key in the past 3 years. He is so low-key that the world almost forgets such a number one person. Of course, those who forget about Khan are all from the first half of the Grand Line and from all over the world. The pirates and civilians in New World not only did not forget Khan, but they were even more impressed with him. Because in the past 3 years, there have been 2 more islands next to Dressrosa, and the sky is changing day by day. The big one is the Isle of Morlaix that was snatched as a trophy 3 years ago after the Khan group wiped out the mighty fist pirates. Now on this island, there are still trained Dressrosa citizens who are constantly mining. And in the center of the island, a huge base was established. In this base, is now continuously producing all kinds of thermal weapons. 3 years ago, the box Khan brought back from Capone Beeg was also placed in a corner of the base, and it was full of design drawings with weapon patterns and data. These blueprints originally belonged to the Cross family, but were given to Capone Beeg by Khan to let him take over the arms business of the Cross family and rapidly develop the Capone family. After gaining a firm foothold in New World, Khan went back and got back the blueprints for the munitions. In the past 3 years, the Cross family has successfully established a long-term cooperation with the Sea Transport King, Umit, and every month, a part of the minerals will be transported to West Blue to Capone Beeg. At the same time, the Cross family also established a cooperation with the Don Quixote family to transport the produced arms to North Blue and asked Doflamingo to help sell them. Khan didn't sell it himself, because his ammunition is not high-quality goods in the New World. It is better to ship it to North Blue, where wars continue, and let the best intermediary in the Dark World help him sell the ammunition at the highest price. As for the small island, it has been cultivated by the little people for 3 years, and now it is full of various flowers, plants, and medicines. It is also the base camp of the Cross family at this stage. It was also this island that allowed the Cross family to gain a firm foothold in New World in only 3 years. Because arms are only the smallest business of the Cross family. The biggest business of the Cross family is a variety of the best medicinal materials on the market, as well as the knowledge Khan collected on Magnetic Drum Island, which was passed on to Manshwali, who was then given to Manshwali by Paramisha, a person with the ability to heal fruit. Overseers and team leaders, medicines and potions made by the little people have become bestsellers in the dark world. Even the world government and naval headquarters often buy medicines and potions from the Cross family, from the dark world, just as they also buy weapons from pirates. Their medical level and equipment may be far higher than that of the Cross family, but in terms of cultivating medicinal materials and making medicines, their ingredients and efficacy are far inferior to those cultivated and manufactured by the little people themselves. For this reason, the world government also specially sent people over to secretly negotiate with Khan, and the two sides reached a cooperation secretly. Although Khan killed the celestial dragons, it damaged the image of the gods that the world government had created for the celestial dragons for 800 years. But in this world where strength and interests are paramount, there are no real enemies. Even the hatred of killing one's father or taking one's wife can be let go as long as one has enough interests. And the medicinal materials, medicines produced by the Cross family, are enough to make the world government put down its hatred and actively show favor to him. In the eyes of 5 elders, Cross Khan is not a member of the D family, nor is he a Paramisha rubber fruit. To be precise, he is not a person with zone, human fruit, phantom beast, and Nika. Although he has the templates of the 2 major monsters, his strength is at most at the level of Whitebeard, or even stronger than Whitebeard. Moreover, such a peak period can only last for a few decades, and it cannot shake the world government's rule over this world at all. Therefore, Charlotte Linlin, who is also a natural destroyer, can be allowed to establish the Toto Land Kingdom, formed by 35 islands in New World, and Kaido can be allowed to become one of the 3 monsters, and together with Whitebeard and Charlotte Linlin can check and balance the New World. 5 elders can also let Khan grow up, making him the youngest Sea Overlord, and allowing New World to enter the situation where 4 Sea Emperors rule. As long as these forces are not united, and the overall strength of a single unit does not exceed the sum of naval headquarters and CP organizations, then there is nothing to fear. This is the arrogance of the world government. 800 years of background also gave them the confidence to be arrogant. In the past 3 years, apart from the fact that the strength of the Cross family has not yet reached the standard, the influence in the New World and the Dark World is already undoubtedly top-notch. If it were any other first-class force, if the person in charge didn't have Khan's strength, but occupied the world's only drug business, it would definitely attract the coveted eyes of countless people. Whether it is strong or weak, everyone wants to bite off a piece of meat from him, including those overlords who will be moved by it. Because among the 3 monsters, the Whitebeard Pirates is also a major customer of the Cross family. As time passed silently, the legends of the previous era were still able to retain their peak strength in the early days of the Great Pirate Era. Even in the later stage, these superpowers are still existences at the level of destroying islands. But the strength is still there, which does not mean that their battery life can still be the same as in the peak period. They can play for 3 days and 3 nights, 5 days and 5 nights, or 10 days and 10 nights, just like a normal person. On the contrary, as time goes by, the traces left by time on the superpowers of the old era will become deeper and more obvious. 3 years later, Whitebeard has entered a period of hair loss. When all his dazzling golden hair fell out, it meant that the strongest man in the world was no longer at his peak. Pirates' medical equipment and level are far inferior to Marines supported by world government military spending. Also a legend of the old era, Whitebeard is covered in scars all over his body. When the peak was not there, Sengoku, who was his old enemy, didn't even have a single scar, and he didn't have any hidden diseases. Therefore, as a ship's doctor, Margot immediately used his private money to buy medicinal materials, medicines and potions produced by the Cross family, on the black market after he noticed his father's hidden illness, used to treat Whitebeard. For these, Whitebeard's opponents and sons were neither aware nor cared. By the time they notice and realize, it's time for the lions to grow old. Blue, 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 blue. See Circle Calendar August 15, 1506. On this day, Khan, who did not move into the stronghold of the Cross family, and was still living in the flower fields in Dressrosa, received a call from Hancock who said he would be back soon, but made him wait for 3 years. Master, I have completely ruled the entire Amazon Lily Kingdom, come and pick us up quickly, I miss you so much. As the phone bug imitated Hancock's cheering expression, the 18-year-old Khan slowly stood up. In the past 3 years, Khan, who is in the growth period, has also ushered in very obvious changes. First of all, in terms of appearance, Khan still has short blue hair that just covers his ears, and his immature face has faded 3 years ago. Now it has not only grown out completely, but also looks more handsome. The reason why it is described as handsome is because Khan's figure is not the slightest natural destroyer, who specializes in physical skills, but is just like a normal person, who looks thin when dressed, and has flesh when he takes off his clothes. Those who have never seen Khan's shot, no one can imagine that such a thin body can explode with such strength that even a slap from a giant would break a rib. In 3 years, Khan's height also skyrocketed to 1.95 meters, surpassing Robin. If Hancock's height has not changed in the past 3 years, then Khan will regain the second place in the family's height. As for the first place, it must be the upgraded human Sonia. In addition to the change in appearance, Khan's strength also ushered in a huge change. As a natural destroyer, and at the age of 15, even if Khan overeats like Charlotte Linlin, does not do any training, and only knows to eat, drink and play all day long, his strength will still improve steadily. It wasn't until after the age of 30 or 40 that the world's top talent was wasted in 7s and 80s. At that time, I didn't think about cultivation, and it was already too late. Charlotte Linlin is such an existence. With Charlotte Linlin as a negative example, Khan certainly won't waste his talent. For the past 3 years, he has spent 6 hours a day practicing hockey, 3 hours practicing taijutsu, and 3 hours developing the ability of devil fruit. Khan spends half of each day working on his strength. As for the remaining half of the time, it will take 6 hours to cultivate relationships with Robin's girls, and get busy with business when there is business. The other 6 hours are spent resting. Sleeping only 6 hours a day is the habit of Khan and Robin, which has not changed over the years. Under such excellent time management, Khan's strength and physical development, as well as his relationship with the girls, have not been left behind. But since he hasn't fought against the second superpower yet, Khan doesn't know what level his current strength has reached. To be precise, there is still a huge gap between those super powerhouses standing on the highest mountain in the world and the 3 big monsters in New World. He has compared himself with those 3 monsters, and it can be seen how much Khan's strength has improved in the past 3 years. "I'm going to pick you up now," Khan, who received Hancock's call, responded immediately. "Master, my concubine is waiting for you on Daughter's Island." The phone bug mimicked Hancock's excited expression again. Although in the past 3 years, Khan, who was afraid that Hancock would suffer from lovesickness, talked on the phone with Hancock every few days, sometimes once a day. But for 3 years, neither Khan nor Boha have met each other. Even though he was just talking with a phone bug, Khan noticed that Hancock had changed a lot in the past 3 years. For example, her self-proclaiming changed from me to concubine. When talking on the phone with Hancock, Khan would sometimes hear Hancock's conversations with other people, and the concubine's self-proclaimed status instantly turned into mourning, and she was also full of majesty. It can be seen that Hancock has adapted and is used to the identity of the Empress. Perhaps it is for this reason that 2 years ago Hancock finally awakened to the innate aptitude of a king, which is only one in millions of people, conqueror's hockey. What's even more outrageous is that in the past 3 years, Hancock has also mastered the advanced application of armament hockey, that is, external release and internal destruction. When Khan heard the news, his mouth opened wide and his jaw almost fell to the ground. He was hit by Hancock. In the past 3 years, Khan's stamina, skills, hockey capacity, and even the development of devil fruit have made great progress. The only thing that hasn't progressed is the comprehension of conqueror's hockey. Yes, in the past 3 years, Khan has neither mastered the future prediction of observation hockey, nor mastered the external release and internal destruction of armament hockey, nor the greeting of superpowers, nor the conqueror's entanglement of different dimensions. After 3 years of hard work, except for the skyrocketing capacity of hockey, there has been no progress in comprehension. Khan thinks there are only 2 possibilities. One is that he has no talent. The second is that, like Luffy, he needs to fight evenly with the strong, or fight to the death. Hockey's comprehension can grow rapidly in the battle. On the other hand, Hancock is an unreasonable talent monster. Mastered the 2-color hockey at the age of 12, and did not spend several years as a slave to the celestial dragons like in the original book, wasting several years of growth. Then with the help of Khan, the biological age went directly from 12 to 18-year-old adults. With this change, Hancock's hockey capacity has increased by 6 years. Then Hancock, with sufficient hockey capacity, after another 3 years of polishing, with a flash of insight, he mastered the advanced use of armament hockey. People are really more popular than people. When she comes back, Khan must ask her for advice. After hanging up the phone, Khan told Robin and Koala the good news, took them to drive the Grandine, and finally left Dressrosa after 3 years. Yes, in the past 3 years, Khan has hardly left Dressrosa except to find a small uninhabited island and bring it back to transform it into a base camp. Even if he left, he would go to the sea area not far from Dressrosa to develop the ability of kinds of phantom beasts in the form of the dragon. The same goes for Robin's daughters. In the past 3 years, Robin has also done time management. He spends 6 hours a day practicing 9-snake hockey in Marine 6 styles, sleeps 6 hours, and spends the remaining 12 hours taking care of Khan's daily life and cultivating Koala, responsible for negotiating and cooperating with Dressrosa represented by Scarlet, and the small human race represented by Man Shirley. 3 years later, Robin, who is already 21 years old physically, has lost any immaturity in appearance or heart, and has become a mature lady full of scholarly temperament. Under Robin's training, the 7-year-old Koala is just like Robin when he was a child, quiet and precocious. At the same time, she has also become a Paramecia Dango fruit ability user. As for the 2 sisters, Scarlet and Violet, and Shelly Man, they have often come to Khan, Robin, and Koala to chat and play in the past 3 years. Although they have not officially joined, they are already half members of the Cross family. In the past 3 years, Khan has also taught Scarlet and Violet the cultivation methods of 9-snake hockey and Marine 6 styles. But Paramecia sweet fruit, Khan hasn't given it to Scarlet yet. It's not that Scarlet hasn't learned 1.5 moves, but that she hasn't fully become her own, and Yin En doesn't want to give it to her yet. In the past 3 years, apart from the development of the Cross family into a first-class force, Khan and his gang have undergone tremendous changes. Somewhere in this world, something happened. For example, after the demise of O'Hara a few years ago, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, the future, the most ferocious criminal in history, Monkey D. Dragon, has formed an army and is expanding rapidly. I believe that it won't take many years. After the headquarters of the Revolutionary Army moves into New World, it will become one of the overlord forces hiding in the dark and exclusively opposing the world government. 3 years ago, Dragon returned Garp with a grandson, the future son of Destiny, Monkey D. Luffy. 2 years ago, Doflamingo's younger brother, Corazon, returned to the Don Quixote family as an undercover Marine. For the cooperation between Khan and Doflamingo, Marine and world government also know about it. However, due to Khan's secret cooperation with the world government, the 5 elders specifically issued an order, asking Kong to let Vice Admiral, the crane that hunted Doflamingo, not allow Khan's business. This is one of the privileges of the Cross family, working with the world government. In addition to this privilege, Khan can also, like 7 warlords of the sea, let the sailboat pass Marie Joyce to and fro the front and back half of the Grand Line. Of course, the premise is that Khan is not afraid of being ambushed. This privilege is not only available to Khan, but even Kaido has it. Because both the world government and Marine are short of seastone, most of the seastone that spreads in the world comes from Wano-kuni. Just like Khan, who owns a small human race, the world government can't help Kaido, so it can only establish cooperation with Kaido. A year ago, a pirate imprisoned soldiers and threatened the king to surrender the throne in a certain member country. When the king sent a signal to the world government for help, the world government sent the future CP9, the strongest killing machine in the past 800 years, but Rob Lucci, who was only 13 years old at the time, killed 500 soldiers and pirates by himself. Killed them all. A few months ago this year, lead disease broke out in North Blue. The country called White Town, Frevens died in the flames of war. Trafalgar Law, which has 3 years and 2 months of life left, in mid-June this year, I joined the Don Quixote family. The above are some big and small things that happened in the past 3 years. In addition, Shanks, who recruited Usopp's father, Usopp, who abandoned his wife and son in East Blue, also established his own, Red Hair Pirates, and started his own voyage. After his team is completed, I believe it will soon become a world-renowned big pirate group. But when Shanks entered the world's highest stage and challenged the world's highest peak, In was already waiting for him at the top. So, for the rise of Shanks, Khan didn't care. After going out with a large and a small maid, Khan took out Hancock's life card, followed the guidance of the life card, and drove the Grandine towards Daughter Island. With the help of telekinetic wind control, the Grandine arrived at Daughter Island in only 3 days. Master. I miss you so much, filled left pointing pointer. Just when Daughter Island just appeared on the distant sea, there were still more than a dozen nautical miles to reach the sky. A blue-white lightning appeared out of thin air on the deck of the floating Grandine. Hancock teleported to appear on the deck, and threw himself into the arms of Khan, who was sitting on the single sofa in the next second, and said in an excited tone, "We miss you too." Khan, who was hit by the ball, also hugged Hancock's snake-like waist with both hands and smiled. "Hancock, you have grown up a lot." Like a child, Hancock kept rubbing the cheek called the world's most beautiful in Khan's arms, then raised his head and smiled and said, "Maste has also grown up. Not only is it more beautiful than it was 3 years ago, taller and stronger than 3 years ago." Sonia and Mary, how have they been these 3 years? Standing up with Hancock in his arms, Khan asked the now 21-year-old Hancock closely as he looked at him closely. As Khan just said, Hancock has grown up a lot and surpassed the original. In the original Hancock, her height is only 1.91 meters, and she will be close to 2 meters only if she wears higher high-heeled shoes. And Hancock in this life, she just wears ordinary shoes, and she is just like Khan, reaching 1.95 meters. If you wear high heels, you must be in your early 2 meters. Obviously, this is all thanks to Logia Thunderfruit. As one of the 4 basic abilities, electrotherapy is not just a life-saving skill. Its function is similar to the return of life. It can help the host digest the energy in the body, and it can also stimulate the human body to develop its potential. Hancock, who has electrotherapy, her growth rate is at least twice that of the original book. According to this growth rate, by the time of Sea Circle calendar 1522, Hancock's strength would be at least 3 billion Baileys. With this level of strength, he is a super strong, standing on the highest peak in the world. Sonia and Mary, they have changed a lot in the past 3 years. Hancock hugged Khan's waist tightly, and said slowly, "They have been with Granny Z for 3 years, learning how to manage a country. Thanks to their assistance, I was able to manage a country without losing strength." Hearing this, Khan laughed and said, "It looks like they've all grown up." "Uh-huh." Hancock nodded repeatedly, and said with a smile, "On the phone, Master, you should be able to sense that Mary has become much quieter, and Sonia has become more mature, right?" "Really?" Khan nodded, wondering if Mary's appearance had changed. Soon, the Grandine arrived at the skies over Daughter Island. A flying sailboat suddenly appeared in the sky, and Daughter Island did not cause a huge sensation. Because before Khan entered the windless zone, he had already told the 3 Boya sisters. Sonia and Mary also told the citizens of Daughter Island long ago, and gave them the idea of the imminent migration of the Amazon Lily Kingdom. Now, seeing the arrival of the spaceship, the soldiers and citizens of Daughter Island realize that it is time for Daughter Island to relocate. In this regard, both soldiers and citizens are full of excitement and anticipation. Living in the windless zone, they are actually full of yearning for the outside world. Especially those 9 snake warriors who returned from the expedition with the Empress. After telling their experiences in the outside world, they looked forward to Kang even more. But because the number of people going to sea each time is fixed, therefore, ordinary citizens of Daughter Island have only 2 ways to go to sea. One is to strive to become a 9-snake warrior who masters 2-color hockey, and then to become a member of the 9-snake pirates through competition, so that every expedition can go to sea. The second is to ask the Empress to take her with her when she goes out to sea next time, grab a strong man in the outside world, impregnate herself before the end of the expedition, and then come back and give birth to a child. But now, Daughter's Island has moved to the outside world, and they can live in a crowded world in the future. How can this not make the soldiers and citizens of Daughter Island feel excited and looking forward to it? Coupled with the blind trust and worship of the Empress by the soldiers and citizens, no one objected to Hancock's decision. "Master, I miss you so much." The Grandine did not land on the pier of Daughter Island, but landed on the open space of the palace. Just as Khan got off the boat, a slender and hot figure immediately threw himself into his arms. "Long time no see, Mary, Sonia." Hugging Mary, who rushed over, Khan regained the height advantage, touched Mary's long orange hair, and smiled at Sonia, who was still 2.5 meters tall, who was walking towards her. Like Robin, Mary and Sonia have only matured in temperament in the past 3 years, and there has been no change in body, including Sonia as a transformed human. "Master, long time no see." Knowing that her master is full of machismo, Sonia did not give Khan a warm hug, but raised her hand in response to Khan. "Your temperament has matured a lot, and the family affairs can be left to you in the future." Touching Mary's head again, Khan just pushed it away, and then a faint blue light radiated from her body, and smiled at Sonia. "Come here this time, I brought you a present, Sonia." "What gift?" Mary held Khan's arm and asked curiously, "Master, is there any share for me?" "No." Khan pinched Mary's nose and said with a smile, "This gift is for Sonia, and you have already eaten it." Hearing this, Mary's eyes lit up and she asked, "Is it devil fruit?" "Yes, your reaction power has become faster, although it has grown." Khan nodded appreciatively. At the same time, a treasure chest flew out of the cabin of the Grandine and floated in front of Sonia. Looking at the curious Sonia, Khan smiled and said, "Open it up and eat it. This devil fruit, I spent a lot of effort to get it. Waiting for half a month, 8 million Bailey's employment fee, 2 days' journey, half an hour's search. This is indeed the devil fruit that Khan spent the most time getting, and it is cheaper than Paramisha Danzi fruit. It will take a long time." Hearing this, Sonia immediately took the box, opened it expectantly, took out a red devil fruit covered with special spiral patterns, looked at Khan and asked, "Master, what devil fruit is this?" "This is the same phantom beast as me." Khan's words made the three Bo-Ya sisters look shocked. Only Robin and Koala, which have been known for a long time, have not changed. "It's actually the same phantom beast as Master?" Mary's beautiful eyes widened, she let go of Khan's arm, walked quickly to Sonia, looked up at the devil fruit in Sonia's hand, and said enviously, "In other words, Sonia can also become a giant dragon like Master?" "No, the phantom beast in Sonia's hand is not dragon fruit phantom beast." Khan shook his head and said, "My devil fruit is zone dragon fruit phantom beast sky dragon form, and the devil fruit in Sonia's hand is zone bat fruit phantom beast vampire form." "Vampire? Is it the kind of vampire described in the book?" Mary widened her beautiful eyes again, and said, "Doesn't that mean that Sonia can live forever if she eats this devil fruit, but she has the weakness of being afraid of the sun?" "Not all vampires are afraid of the sun, Mary." Khan slowly popularized. "At least in the Devil Fruit Illustrated book. The past generations of hosts in the form of phantom beasts and vampires are not afraid of the existence of the sun. However, the immortality in immortality is true, because the vampire form has the ability to absorb the lifespan of others and make oneself youthful and eternal. As for immortality, it must be false. There are no immortal creatures in this world. Youth is eternal?" This time it was Hancock's turn to widen his beautiful eyes, looking at the phantom beast vampire form in Sonia's hand, his face was full of envy. The more beautiful a girl is, the more she cares about her beauty. Especially the most beautiful woman in the world is subconsciously afraid of getting old. That's why Hancock is so envious. If she can choose, she is even willing to use her Logia Thunderfruit to exchange phantom beast vampire form with Sonia. Not only Hancock, but even Robin was very envious at first. It's a pity that she already had demon fruit power when she was a few years old, and she still ate Paramisha flower fruit by mistake. If she is not capable, then she can eat a powerful devil fruit to assist Khan. "Master, do you really want to give me such a precious devil fruit?" Hearing the power of youth and eternity, Sonia was not calm anymore, and looked at Khan with an unconfident face. If this phantom beast devil fruit is the same dragon fruit phantom beast like Khan, Sonia will definitely eat it without hesitation and make herself stronger to repay Khan. But, this phantom beast, devil fruit, can make people eternally youthful. What does that mean? This means that the person who eats this devil fruit can not only maintain the peak of his strength, but also make himself look like a young man until his death. There is no doubt that such a devil fruit is most suitable for my sister, as well as Robin's sister, and a super beautiful woman like Scarlet. And I am just an ordinary person with an ordinary appearance. So, it's no wonder Sonia feels unconfident. Of course, this devil fruit belongs to you." Khan nodded, and said, "The phantom beast devil fruit is the most suitable devil fruit for us upgraded humans. As long as you eat it, your physical fitness, which is already far superior to that of your peers, will immediately skyrocket to an incredible level. So, in our family, no one is more suitable for this devil fruit than you." As for eternal youth, after a slight pause, Khan glanced at Hancock, Mary and Robin, and said with a sly smile, "Besides the form of phantom beasts and vampires, there are actually other abilities and things that can make people eternally youthful, even immortal. And it shouldn't take long for that ability to fall into my hands." "Master, really?" Hearing this, Hancock, Mary, and even Robin looked at Khan with bright eyes. "Ah. Anyway, you don't need to worry about youth, after all." Glancing at the figures of the three women, Khan suddenly hit a straight ball. "I care more about this than you guys." The three women were slightly taken aback, Immediately, Robin, the most mature of the three girls, showed a black-bellied smile, and joked. I see, has the master entered the estrus period of animals? It is true, after all, in mythology, dragons are promiscuous creatures. F.A. Fafa. Story period. Mary stared at Khan wide-eyed, her voice faltering. Master, are you going to marry my concubine? Hancock was even more outrageous, holding his small face in his hands, looking at Khan shyly. And her words also made Robin, who was smiling and black-bellied, his eyes instantly become dangerous. Good guy. This woman has only been the empress for 3 years, and she actually wants to take over. Seeing Khan, who had a headache but couldn't speak, Sonia took the initiative to lend a helping hand, and change the subject. In that case, I'll eat it unceremoniously, master. After finishing speaking, Sonia picked up the phantom beast vampire form, opened her mouth and bit off a piece of flesh. As Sonia frowned slightly, and swallowed the chewed pulp, a new generation of zone, bat fruit, phantom beast, vampire form ability user appeared again in this era. Sonia, what is your eudemon's superpower? Is it only life absorption? As Sonia swallowed the chewed pulp, she threw away the remaining fruit. Hancock and Mary, who came back to their senses, immediately cast their gazes over. Sonia didn't answer right away, but felt her body to see if there was any change. After a while, Sonia's face brightened and said, it feels like it's here. After the words fell, Sonia's body immediately underwent a huge change in the eyes of Khan and the others. First of all, the long green hair disappeared. Take it purple, like the fur of a bat. Then a pair of ears turned into a sharp and erect shape, and the mouth also showed sharp teeth. Finally, the arms, which also turned into claws with purple fur, red sharp nails and bat wings. I have to say, this image is really ugly. Seeing the image of Sonia, most of Hancock and Robin's envy disappeared in an instant. However, Sonia didn't care about her own image. After transforming into a human beast form, she looked down at the purple sharp claws and exclaimed, what a terrifying increase. I feel that my current strength can easily tear apart the purple claws. Break everything. This is one of the characteristics of phantom beasts, which can improve the physical fitness, resilience and resistance of capable users to the greatest extent. Khan talked about it, and then asked curiously, Sonia, what is your superpower? In the game, the Red Earl only showed the 2 abilities of the phantom beast vampire form. One is to absorb lifespan to restore youth, and the other is to release a huge amount of black mist to form a dark night field like Logia dark fruit. But Khan is very sure that Zone, Bat Fruit, Phantom Beast, and Vampire form should not only have 2 abilities. The reason why the Red Earl only showed these 2 abilities was because after he regained his youth, his strength had already returned to the pinnacle of the world. Top-notch swordsmanship, top-notch hockey, top-notch physique. The Red Earl, who was once an incapacitated person like Luogia and Rayleigh, would be the strongest in the world even if he didn't use Devil Fruit's ability a handful of people. He doesn't use other abilities because those abilities are not comparable to his sword or the punch that wraps around hockey. My superpowers are different from yours, master. There are 3 types in total. Sonia said slowly. The first one is blood-sucking, to be precise, life-sucking. Just like what the master just said, I can absorb the target's lifespan by sucking blood, or touching the target with my sharp claws, and make myself eternally young. The second is to create darkness, which can consume physical energy to release a large amount of black mist, creating a night field that is invisible to the naked eye. If it is used at night, the range of this field will be 10 times that of the day, and the consumption can even be ignored. The third is ultrasonic waves, which are similar to my sister's electric waves. With my pair of sharp ears, it can amplify observation hockey to an incredible level. When she said the last sentence, Sonia pointed to her sharp big ears, and said with a little regret, unfortunately, it is different from the observation hockey that my sister and master can open hours a day. My observation hockey can only release ultrasonic waves. Only then can it increase to an unimaginable level. Is this pervert already? Mary complained. Ultrasound is combined with the field of night. Enemies who have not mastered observation hockey will die if they encounter you. Even if you master observation hockey, if your comprehensive strength can't crush you, you will easily kill them with your unique perception. This is simply the ability that killers dream of. Really? Robin nodded in agreement, and said with a soft smile, if Sonia changes her career to become a killer, I believe it won't be long before she becomes the #1 killer in the Dark World. Draining the lifespan and the Dark Knight domain are the abilities of vampires, while ultrasonic waves are more like the abilities of bats. Hancock frowned slightly, looked at Sonia's hands with bat wings, and asked, "Sonia, can you fly?" "Okay." Sonia raised her hands, shook the bat wings connected with her hands, and said, "I have two ways of flying. One is the current human beast form, and the second is that the beast form can become a huge bat." "Apart from those three abilities, does this phantom beast have any other enhancements?" Khan also asked. "Aha." Sonia nodded again and again, and said excitedly, "Of the three superpowers, the most powerful ones are only the conceptual lifespan absorption and observation Haki's ultrasonic waves, but only the lifespan absorption is offensive, and the other two are auxiliary. Compared to these three kinds of superpowers, the biggest increase of this phantom beast species is the physical fitness of the capable person. Especially the speed, it has skyrocketed to an unbelievable level, whoosh." As soon as the last sentence was finished, Sonia's 2.5-meter tall figure disappeared from the eyes of Khan and others. Immediately, Sonia appeared in front of them out of thin air. However, the bodies of these Sonias are flickering slightly, showing distorted shapes. And they are all afterimages. After a while, Sonia's afterimage surrounded Khan and his group. In the observation Haki perception of Khan and the others, Sonia is shifting back and forth at an unimaginable speed. These phantoms are all afterimages created by Sonia's speed too fast. Sensing the light spot representing Sonia, it changed its position several times per second, so fast that her observation Haki couldn't keep up. Mary seemed to think of something, and couldn't help but gasp. Such a speed. Even Robin, who only mastered observation Haki last year, showed horror and said, "If you cooperate with the field of night and ultrasonic waves, who else can stop Sonia's assassination?" Not only that, but also the conceptual lifespan of absorption. Khan also showed an excited smile, and said, "This speed, combined with the night domain and ultrasonic perception, can only be escaped from the night domain at an extremely fast speed, or Hancock who can elementalize Logia in advance, or Haki is so powerful that it can ignore the existence of life-stealing. Otherwise, if anyone is touched by Sonia, they don't need to suck blood, they can absorb life through touching, and instantly turn the other person into an old man who can't even stand still." There is no doubt that the combination of these abilities is as unsolvable as the abilities of the Paramisha rule class. Although the abilities of Phantom Beast and Vampire form are not as diverse and unsolvable as Khan's Sky Dragon form and Kaido's Azure Dragon form. But the ability of this Devil Fruit has a concept-level power similar to Bartholomew Kuma's Paramisha Meatball Fruit. Cooperating with other abilities, Phantom Beast Vampire form is simply the #1 ability of assassination. 1-to-1, almost unsolvable existence. Just like Mary and Robin said. With the ability of the Phantom Beast and Vampire form, if Sonia goes to the Dark World to become a killer, she will definitely become the world's #1 killer at the fastest speed.